Alrighty, everyone. How we doing? Welcome. It is time for AI in games. It is wrapped. We're done. We've had enough of this nonsense. We're trying to finish 2025 on a high note. It's been a crazy year. Seeing people sneak into the stream now, which is great. Hello, one and all. Great to have you here. Also, it's so nice to be streaming on the main channel, because usually I'm streaming over on AI Games Plus rather than here on the main platform. We tend to only come over here when we're doing something big, or critically, it's the end of year show. So yeah, just watching people trickle in, which is great. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. We've got a really fun. I think we've got a really fun show lined up. I am hearing myself. Need to unmute that, by the way. So yeah, hello, you. I'm gonna have to mute. Actually, I'm gonna take this off because right now I'm in a call right now and I'm hearing myself getting fed back through the call. But anyway, so we've got a really fun show lined up. I think it's fun. I don't know. As what we tend to do every year, if you're new to AI in games and everything else, this is sort of a run through of everything we've done throughout the year. There we go. We do a run through of everything we did throughout the year. We talk a little bit about making all the stuff that we did this year. We talk about some of the stuff that's coming up. We talk about all the other, also like we actually share numbers. Like we actually talk about how successful this whole enterprise is, which you discover actually isn't massively. Yeah, we do good on the numbers, but we're not paying our mortgage off the back of this, if you get my meaning. But we talk a lot about that. We talk about all the stuff that we're doing behind the scenes at AI in games. So do that effort. I guess like one of the things we do have to clarify is for a lot of you, you don't realize this. There's two of us. So starting earlier this year, I actually brought on another member of the team. So this time last year when we did this, AI in games was literally one person, and then we had the sort of the enterprise that was beginning to set up for the conference, and that was adding a few more people to it. But no, like actually since March, I think AI in games has been a two-person endeavor at minimum, and actually we're getting very close to three. So without further ado, please give a warm AI in games welcome to Shraddha Gupta, who is you are really the driving force now of AI in games. I'm just the puppet. You just get me to talk.
Oh, hey.
There we go. So a little bit of context for everyone. So yeah, Shraddha, you joined in March, right? It was around February, March time, something like that.
End of March.
Yeah, I can't, it's been so long, right? It's genuinely been so long at this point. But so you and I have actually known each other for what, about 4 or 5 years, I think?
4 years. Almost 5.
I think it is about 5. Yeah, I think it's 5 years in like January or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Although we never met in person until like a year and a half ago. So that's
No, before we met at
GDC.
GDC, but like the 2023 one.
Oh, so it was, yeah, it was GDC 2023, not 2024, my bad. So yeah, it's been 2.5 years since we've met in person. But yeah, we worked with each other. We actually used to work together over at Model AI. So you were a lot of kind of brand and marketing management over at Model, and I was doing a bunch of bits and bobs for them as well. And then you were leaving Model, and we decided, you were like, oh, like, and funny thing is, right, because you and I we hang out, we're quite pally, and funnily enough, like a lot of the time when I was talking about the stuff I was doing, like, oh, I'm making this video, I'm doing this thing, I'm starting a newsletter, or whatever, you were always like really, I'm not going to say critical.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited for you.
You were very clear, like, I have opinions on how you're doing this, and I was like, you know what, fine, if you've got opinions, I've got money, so let's put your opinions where my money is and see between the two of us whether we can make this work. Oh dear.
Also, I think one of the reasons why we kind of work is I got used to getting you to give me work. Like, even though like I was the client, you hated sharing work. You wouldn't want me to like finish things.
You'd give me something to
But
do,
like
so I'd go and do
because
it.
I was the client, I would just like bully you into like just give me the like just give me the Premiere Pro project. Let me just edit this out. So I think it's just easier now.
It's
Now you're
it's
used to giving it.
it's. Oh, hello! We've actually got a guest joining us as well. Not even expecting this. Hello.
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 We weren't expecting you today. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I actually, had a call at this time, but it just cancelled, so I thought I would join in.
Well, there we go.
That's very nice.
We were actually going to say we might have some guests later on in the show, but already like jumping straight in. So please give a warm welcome. So not only you've just met Shraddha, if you've not met Shraddha, now also please give a warm welcome to Dugu Chakmak, who is one of our co-founders of Game AI Event CIC and also one of the organisers of the AI and Games conference. Did you see the video in the Discord server, by the way?
Yeah, I think you're mentioning the video you just cut about the behind the scenes,
Yep,
right?
it's not public yet, yeah, but I sent it in the chat just in case, because I put those clips in with you and Matthias, by the way.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. I really like it. Yeah. I mean, I don't even remember a couple of things I said around cutting the videos and such, and I was like, oh my God, oh no. But yeah, it's really funny.
So yeah, just noticing people are popping into the chat. A lot of actually friendly faces from across the community. Hello to you all. Christoph Salga, great to see you there. Carl's apparently having trouble trying to find us on either YouTube or Twitch. I think he's having headaches. We are out there. And Philip Dunstan has just joined in the chat as well. Great to see you. So yeah, how you doing, Dugu? I was going to say we haven't spoken in a week or so. Like it's been a mad rush for the end of year.
Yeah, it's been crazy busy with all the things you need to do to wrap the year up, but yeah, it's calming down now, and yeah, looking at the game stuff a bit, looking at what to do next year and such. So yeah, it's been great, really. Looking forward to all the Christmas food as well now.
Yes, I can relate. I'm trying to behave a little bit this year. I'm trying not to be too bad. But also, yeah, it's like, ooh. Actually, I just defrosted some square sausage and like a few other Scottish bits and pieces because I'm like, right, this is the time of year for. We've also got an honorary can of 1901 Iron Brew for the day, so that's about 300% of my recommended sugar intake. But yeah. Let's see. Awesome. Cool. We've got everything up and running. So yeah, the way that we do this, the way that this usually works is I give us a run through of like everything we did this year. We tell a few stories from behind the scenes, and we've actually, I was going to say I'll jump forward a little bit in the dedicated presentation. So as you can see, we kind of walk through everything. We talk about the YouTube stuff that we've done. We talk about the newsletter. We get into some of the weeds on the monetization side of things. But also we've got a big bit talking about the conference this year because the conference has been such a huge, was a huge effort, I think, for all of us. I think it's been a really crazy, it's been a crazy year, I think. Like as I say, so we've literally got a video coming out about this, and you guys have watched it, and it is funny. Like my first line I say in it is just like, I can't believe we're doing this all over again. Like it was funny how we had so many meetings on a weekly basis just trying to figure this out, and then here we are. We're presenting and we're running the conference again, and it was amazing. But also, I'm just like, okay, where did that go? And now we're back to planning for next year already. Don't get enough time to like sit in the glow of it. I don't know.
Tommy, you're getting 2 weeks break.
That I do. I am desperately in need of time off. I am so tired. But yeah, tell you what, let's get into it because we actually did a lot. We've done a lot this year. We did a lot this year.
Yes.
Like too much, one might argue. So yeah, let's have a quick look at the YouTube stuff that we did. we actually did a pretty good job. We managed to still put out. Right. Can I just say, right? I think this is first of all like one of the big things that Shraddha's done this year is, as you'll see across YouTube, across the newsletter, we managed to keep both of those at a decent cadence. We managed to run the conference, and like that's a huge amount of work, right? Like, trying to keep a video coming out every month is a huge effort. When you've also got another business that you run behind the scenes, when we also do a weekly newsletter, when we're trying to put together this conference, right? It's a kind of mountain of stuff. And we still managed to put out 11 videos this year. Although the Alien Isolation one, I think, broke us a little bit. Like,
Me, I cried at one point.
hang on, did you actually cry? Why were you crying?
Because like there were just too many videos to edit, and like it was just very overwhelming that there are so many interviews to edit. And then I was looking at like all the stories they were saying, and I kept thinking, I will have to look at that alien. Like I hate horror games, guys. I can't deal with horror at all. And I was like, oh, I can't edit this. I can't look at the.
Yeah, so I feel like we didn't have a proper job interview where I feel like one of the questions that should have came up is how do you feel about horror games? Because we did, what, 3 horror games this year.
Yeah.
To be honest, like Alien Isolation is from the studio I'm working in, right? So when I first started, everyone was like, "Oh, that's a great game, you should try." And I could never play it more than 15, 20 minutes. It was just so scary. So I can totally hear what you say, Shraddha. And yeah, good job doing all.
Well, the
Also,
solution
I saw
was...
those videos so many times that when I met Tobias at the conference, I felt like I knew him because I'd just seen his videos like some 20 times already.
I was going to say, actually, the solution to most of this was I edited the footage. Like, you edited a lot of the interview stuff, and then when I would go in and do the pass on the interview stuff, and then I edited all the footage together. Because at this point, I'm completely unfazed by Alien Isolation. Like, I can just watch footage of that for hours, and I'm like, oh, there's the xenomorph, it's doing its thing, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, I'm almost completely desensitized to it, which is quite funny. I always remember the first time I played it, actually, a buddy and I, Matt, who has guested on the show years ago, he and I we decided to do a let's play, so we're filming it offline, and we actually had a camera on us the whole time. You and Matt would get on great, Shraddha, I think, in terms of like Frady Cat. Like, he was freaking out like before you even meet it. Because if anyone who's played Alien Isolation, you know you don't actually meet the xenomorph proper until about an hour into the game. He was like but of course there's all these little bits in the build up where they're like, here's a deliberate jump scare just to set you off if you're on edge at the start, and he was jumping at all of them, and it was so. We actually never did it. I went away and redid the start of it by myself because he was like, "This is too much. Can we just play something else?" And I think we played like Lego Jurassic World or something for the rest of the day. Oh dear. So yeah, let's do a quick run through. We started off in January, so it was critically. Up until the Alien episode, we were actually hitting like month for month. We managed to get a video out, and so we started in January with episode 77. That was Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, which was a really fun one because it was circling back to the conference from last year. This was based on Vladislav Yancevic's talk that was delivered at the AI Games conference in 2024. And it was our way of, like, one, that is a really cool game. I really like Space Marine 2, but also it was a great way for us to kind of celebrate that we had a really cool talk on a big AAA game that was submitted to our conference. And then because AI Games always, like, when we started this, it was me pulling apart resources that were available online and everything else. So being able to like say, hey, this actually was delivered at our conference was like the coolest thing. Like genuinely was really cool. And so I thought, what a great way to celebrate one, that we did this, but two, all the talks are now coming to our second YouTube channel. So, you know, I thought, hey, this is a great one to do. I really enjoyed working on that one. So I think the first one you worked on, Dugu, is that right? Is it episode 78, which was the rise of AI generated games? Yeah, because we did the design dive on Bloodborne, which I was really I'd been putting that off for about 2 years, and I finally did it. And the rise of AI generated games, that actually was the first time we did an episode that's based on the newsletter.
Yeah.
Because it was a newsletter topic that, because there was so much, like, not bad press, I think critically, it was more, there was a lot of discussion at the time around the Muse project, the Microsoft's Muse project, their world model on like simulating bleeding edge, I believe it was. And I thought a lot of the reporting on this has been really bad, so let's try and do something to kind of combat it.
Also we like got together quite quickly, to my surprise. Like I think it was one of the first one we did together, and it was just, like I think within two weeks we got it like up and running and finished.
I think this speaks also to like part of my 20, I think but also my 2025 like goal or focus has been how to start doing a lot of this not on my own, because I'm so used to doing everything by myself. And so you were already like, Tommy, how do you do this? Like, how do you run all these things? Like, where's your business processes? And I'm like, they're all in my head. And you were like, and so we were going through this whole thing of trying to figure out how to like make it so YouTube video editing became easier. So like, most of the videos now you do the first pass on most of them.
Yeah. No, so we tried Teams first, the Premiere Pro Teams thing.
Oh God, no.
Which sucks, by the way.
Oh, it sucks.
I don't know how people use it and why they use it. It wouldn't like save and refresh. And then we had this whole process of figuring out how you give me footage, because like he has this insane amount of like video in some hard drive and somewhere. And then we had to like set up the whole process of OneDrive where everything can be shared back and forth. In this process, we also made email. And we moved to Microsoft. It was like a whole thing.
Yeah, all this back end like IT infrastructure that, you know, when you're a company of one is fine, but then when you're a company of 2+,
yeah,
I can see Dugu just like, oh my God, like this is how you actually work.
I was actually just gonna ask, what are the plans? When are you planning on getting like 10 people, 20 people?
Employee 3 starts in January, technically. He's part-time, but yeah, Roper's coming onto the team in Jan. And then who knows? We'll see where that goes. I mean, it's funny because like AI in games is like two and a bit now. And then Game AI Events CIC, which is our conference, that's like the core 5, and then you've got like Shraddha technically comes in and does a bunch with us, and then Sally as well. So it's like 7+ at this point. Like,
George helped out as well a bit, and he was involved in the previous year.
George will be back hitting the ground running with us in January as well. So yeah, like it's a much bigger enterprise these days. Not just us trying to get videos out, but yeah, we did the rise of AI. But Trepang 2, I think, is the first one that Shraddha you really had a big impact on, because you edited like a good chunk of that video, if I remember right.
Yeah, and again, I really feel like I know these guys, and they've never met me. They don't know who I am, but like I saw their interviews so many times. And it's such a fun interview. And this is why I want to do the podcast. I'm going to keep mentioning the podcast, guys, because I'm obsessed with it. But
Shraddha wants to start a podcast, yeah.
Yeah,
another podcast.
Because I want everyone to see the entire video. Like the vibe of these guys is so cool. Like the whole video is so nice. And we had to like chop it up because like otherwise it gets, again, like in a very, like we had to make it crisp for people to get interested in the core of the content. But like it's just a fun video to watch, like the entire interview as well.
Yeah, like shout out to both Wilson and Jacob. Like that was a really fun. It was a really fun interview to do because also critically, one of the things that happened when you started was I was like, great, I have like several videos of interviews that need cut up because I did that interview with them too, like 9 months, 8 months, I think, before we put the video out.
Yeah.
And they were like, any chance you're going to make the video? I'm like, I'm so sorry. A lot of it was, I'm sorry, this alien isolation project has blown out of proportion. Because originally the alien project was literally just Andy Bray and Tobias Cleanthus, and that was it. And then by the end of that, we ended up interviewing like 6 or 7 different people because we also had Simon Ridge and Al Hope come in from Creative Assembly, and that we actually interviewed. That interview ran like this time last year, so I had a cut of that episode almost in my head, and then like we were working with Creative Assembly, and they said, "Hey, can we have them come in and do the interview with you?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then suddenly it completely changed what we were doing. So that was kind of wild. But yeah, so Trepang 2, that was a great one. I think I want to check in with those guys at some point again on the next like thing they were doing because they were very supportive and they gave us so much dev footage. They're like, whatever you want to see, anything you want to show. And I'm like, what about, can we see maybe how you designed this bit or how these work in encounters? And they're just recording all this dev footage to us and sending it over, which, you know, when you work with studios on this sort of thing, you'll know that there's a huge amount of process that you have to go through to get these things approved. You have to get these things signed off. You know, we were working with Kieran Rooney over at Creative Assembly for the Alien retrospective, and Kieran's great. He's fantastic. I'm also alongside Lucy Boxall, who I think is technically his boss. But the thing is, like, we didn't ask for any dev footage on that because we still had to go through vetting the Alien Isolation project. And that has to go through Sega. It has to go through Creative Assembly. It has to go through Sega. It has to go through Disney. And that was a huge vetting process for us. And so anytime you want, actually, we've got an episode coming up next month that has a bunch of vetted footage in it. And it's not a huge amount. It's like a minute maximum, maybe, Shraddha. I'm trying to remember how long that B-roll is. But that took us weeks to get approval for. So when you're working with a bunch of indies and they're just like, there you go. And they just give you all this, you're like, oh God, what do I do with all this? So that was really fun to work with them on that. And yeah. So let me see. Before we did Alien, we also did episode 80. That was the Star Wars Outlaws talk that was at GDC. And
yeah, but you know, we like made that one after we made that Alien Isolation.
Did we? I can't remember.
Yeah, because
did I get them the wrong way around?
No, I think you got the episodes right, but we just like we were waiting for getting approval on Alien Isolation.
Yes.
Meanwhile, we were doing this. So like the production part, we were done with Alien Isolation by then.
Yes, yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. And it's funny because, so Dugu, you and I were sitting front row for this talk at GDC because it was that was the first talk on day one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And we also saw them do, there was a practice run on the Sunday. So we saw it twice, which was really fun. And I remember as you and I really enjoying that talk during the practice session on the Sunday. So I guess for context, for anyone not familiar, so Dugu is one of the members of we were members of the AI, the Game AI Summit Advisory Board. We're now technically, I believe, chairs of the AI Summit for GDC, Festival of Gaming, whatever that means. And so one of the things...
Probably.
Well, yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll workshop it. But this is a process that's existed, I think, since way back when Steve Rabin was very much kind of leading the show there. Was So the summits at GDC start on the Monday, they run Monday, Tuesday, but on the Sunday, we tend to just hang out in a hotel. We hang out in the Marriott and we just get a bunch of people to come and hang out with us and we let them practice their talk. So the Star Wars Outlaws talk was presented in a room of like 300 people, but we saw it as a crowd of like, what, 8 people crowded round a laptop in this hotel lobby on the Sunday and like gave them feedback and stuff. And actually, I just noticed Phil Dunson, of course, is in the chat. Phil was working on Star Wars Outlaws and was kind of leading the QnA team there, I believe, before he left Massive. So this is very much in his space as well. And I remember, so the funny thing that I really wanted to do this episode anyway, because I saw that talk and I thought, oh, this is great. I love this. But there was a mild security hiccup in that I accidentally got to keep all the assets from the talk. Because do you remember this? Like their laptop wouldn't connect to the projector. So if you go and watch the talk in the GDC vault, it is being presented from my laptop. Because they couldn't get it to work, and then we're just like copy pasting, like they literally copy pasted it onto my laptop. We plugged it in, we knew it was working, and it was like great. So it wasn't until like a week after the conference ended, I was just looking on my desktop on my laptop and like, oh, there's the slides from the Star Wars Outlaws. Which of course I didn't share publicly. That's inappropriate. But then it was, oh, this is easier than, I mean, on one, I did go and actually speak to them and say, yo, is it all right if I get to use this? Critically, because, you know, we know David and the comms team Massive, and we don't want to upset them. But, so yeah, we wound up making that. And I remember when
Yeah, but we made our own assets, right? Like the stuff which was in the on the presentation. Like we just used that as a reference and made our own.
I mean, I would have just taken the GDC talk, ripped it down, pulled it down off the GDC website. Don't ask me how I do that, but I do. And then cut the footage up anyway. So the fact that we did it on the up, I guess, by actually just using the PowerPoint was fine. Also, a fun reminder for anyone, if you ever have a PowerPoint and there's some great images and videos in it, rename a PowerPoint file to a zip file and then open it up with like something like 7-zip or an archiving tool, because basically a PowerPoint is just an archive of assets with metadata on where it's positioned. So if you just rename a PowerPoint to a zip file and then go into it like it's a zip file, you can find all the videos much easier. It's literally just a folder.
That works with Keynote as well, you know.
Works with
Keynote as well.
There we go. I don't use enough Keynote, but there we go. Like,
I know. I don't like using PowerPoint. I think I've forgotten how to use PowerPoint. Last time I used PowerPoint was like some 10 years ago, before like I started working with Twitter.
You're also like got a Mac, right? So you're in that space, right?
Yeah, but like no, but I grew up on PowerPoint. Like my first 7 years of working in media were on PowerPoint. Like I started learning how to make presentations on PowerPoint. But now that it's been so long, I found it so hard.
So I'm just catching up with the comments in the chat. What was it? So the Bull says, to be honest, it should have been a standard interview question that I ask you what your feelings are about horror games. I mean, to be fair, I think the standard question should probably be Alien Isolation ? Yeah. Or at least based on the public perception the channel has, rather than my actual gaming interests. Niels asks, have we played Routine yet? No.
No.
I have it installed on 2 different devices right now. It's probably going to be part of my gaming once we have some downtime. And Christoph Salga says, I came here to listen to stuff about AI in games, but the conversation seems to be about zip files and PowerPoint. Boo.
I'm sorry, guys.
Calm down. Tough crowd. So yeah, we did the Alien retrospective, and that did actually break us, I think. Like, it was a really fun project to do. I think it's the last time we're doing Alien Isolation, frankly. I said that the last time, and then...
You keep saying that.
But I don't really want, right, so first of all, I don't want to go back and do another episode on it, because why? Like, we've covered it. It's done. Like, we have other
Yeah.
games to cover. There are more interesting, not that it isn't interesting, but there are other interesting topics to cover. But I think because we did the Fear retrospective last year, I was like, oh, okay, let's, if we can do Fear, maybe we can do Alien. And I blame Tobias Cleanthus entirely. Because I saw him at GDC in 2024, and it was, I think, a week before, because we didn't publish the Fear retrospective till I came back from GDC. And
Yeah.
I say we, I. This was
That
a
was
one.
you.
That was a one. We didn't even have a conference yet. This was days before we had this. I think at this point, Dugu, you and I had that lunch meeting and went, did we just dust off this idea of doing an event again? And
Yeah, I'm glad this one worked out though, because every year or every 6 months we would try to cook up something else as well previously, and I'm glad this is the one that.
yes, I mean, I was going to say, like, critically, for everyone who doesn't know Dugu or even like our relationship, the amount of times you and I have came up with an idea and like, let's try and do this, and then sometimes we try and execute on it, and there are things that we come up against, hurdles, and or just a lack of time on either of our parts. Both of us are quite busy, and so it never really happens, right? No, the conference was the first time we were like, you know what? This seems like a good idea. We should try and do this, and then we actually made it work. So I agree. Like the fact that this was the thing that we made happen is like awesome. But yeah, so Tobias bumps into me, and he's like, what are you up to? And I said, oh, we've just got this like Fear retrospective came out and whatever else. And he's like, mate, if you ever did one on Alien, I'd be there for it. And I was like, all right, so that's one interview in the bag already. And I've known Tobias Cleanthus now I've known Tobias for about 10 years. Because I remember meeting him at Nuclei, which Dugu was also at, which I don't really remember meeting you, but I think you remember meeting me, and I'm a terrible friend as a result. But yeah, so, and that was it. It was really, Tobias said yes, and I thought, okay, let's just keep going. And it wasn't until I reached out to Andy Bray, and Andy said yes, and I thought, oh, now we got something. Like I've only spoken to Andy literally a couple of times ever, and he is just such a sweet fella. I was going to say, I think Dugu, you think you probably know Andy better than me, but he just seems he's such a sweet fella and a really smart guy, and his interview is also probably like him and Tobias. Like all the interviews are great, but I really think Andy's interview in particular is like really really good, and there's actually so many bits we had to cut out, both in terms of Creative Assembly aren't going to like that, but also there's some kind of really personal and emotional bits in his interview that I felt I loved that he shared that with us, but I thought we can't put that out in the wild. I felt that would be unfair on him, but yeah, he's awesome.
Also, the lighting was so bad in his interview. Like but the interview was so good.
So
That like
the funny thing about that is, if I remember correctly, it's the end of the day. He lives down. Because he's at Hangar 13 these days, and so I think he's down. I don't know if he's ever moved from where he lived before, but it was a nice summery day. But the sun was beginning to go down, and his wife is literally waiting for him to finish to do this interview because they're going to the pub quiz together. And so you've heard me in the raw footage where I'm going, have we still got time? I've got a couple more. And he's like, it's fine. You could just see it get darker and darker and darker. And I'm like, hurry up. Because this pub quiz isn't going to wait on him. No, that was... But yeah, that actually, what's that? Loyal Mussy in the chat says, sure, you're done. And it's just a coincidence that Alien Isolation's acronym is also AI. You know, that's the question I never did ask. I should have asked that to Al. Was that intentional? But I don't think it was. Dougal's, you're being very careful because you're like, please don't ask me about anything to do with alien isolation.
I mean, I didn't really work on alien isolation, so apart from my love to Andy and other people who works in alien isolation, I don't think I can add much really.
Oh.
Also, we're all under NDA on this as well, so we can't talk about the sequel.
I do have a question. You said one interview in the bag. It just made me think. I don't know why I've never asked you this question in person, actually, but your interviews, the videos, I'm very curious about how do you select them? Do people come to you and say, oh, let's do this thing? Or, do you look at the games and select what would be good and plan schedule? How does that work?
So it does vary. I think first of all, like I try and figure out like what's an interesting story, right? So like for example, like take the Star Wars Outlaws one for example. You and I both really liked that talk when it was delivered at GDC because it was this really nice example of integrating neural networks in in a sensible way into a AAA game AI project, right? And so I thought that's a great story to tell, and so something about that really resonated with me, and that's why that episode got made. But with regards to the interviews, so there's two this year came about. So both Trepang 2 and Amnesia the Bunker, because people in our Discord community went, have you played this game? It's really cool. I want to say Scuppip in the Discord, he was the one who was like, have you played Trepang 2? Oh my God, it's basically modern Fear. You should check it out. And so again, it's like, okay, well, there's an interesting story. And then we reach out to them and say, hey, would you be interested in doing an interview? And the funny thing with Trepang was they actually said yes, but they were in the middle of crunching basically through their DLC release that they did in around the fall of last year. So we didn't interview them until afterwards. And whereas Amnesia, Shraddha, you reached out to Frictional for that one, right? And
Yeah, like I think we made kind of like we make like a potential list of like games we think are interesting and will have like interesting stories, and then we'd reach out to all their media teams, which is like, or if we know somebody through somebody, then we reach out directly. But I think Frictional, we just reached out to the media team. They got us connected to the team, and that's how the interview happened.
And they were super up for it as well. Like, very excited to be a part of it. Like, I was really surprised because we got Frederick Olsen, who's like not only the creative director on Amnesia the Bunker, but also like the co-owner of the studio, came in for a chat, right? And Max, who was design lead on it. Like Max, I thought we'd maybe get, because usually it's like I try to advocate for, can we get engineers and designers, because I want to talk to people who actually like did it. But to your other part of that question, the other part of this is we also then try and foreground all the topics we're going to talk about to share with the comms people. So, for example, when we had Simon and Al come in for Alien, I sent out in advance to Kieran, like, here's all the questions I want to ask. And what ones are you going to immediately say no to? And then what ones are going to be fine, right? And because every now and then they'll be like, yeah, we're absolutely not talking about this. They're like, that's fine. And I think we've got better at figuring that out as well as to what is. So, for example, there was no point asking anything about the Alien Isolation sequel during that interview. I'm like, we're not going to get anything on that. And also, it detracts from the work. Like, this is a video about that game, so why talk about the sequel? And if you watch the video, I clearly say at the end of it, like, yeah, sequel's in development, but that's not the focus of this video. But also, I just knew for a fact if we raised that, like, everybody at CA and Sega and Disney would be like, no, we're not talking about this. Like, that's fine. We have the AI Games conference for that. They better pitch that to us down the line when it comes out. But anyway, and then even recently, so the next episode we have in January, that's an interview with some of the devs at Massive Entertainment, and again, I think that's also been a little easier because we've worked with Ubisoft a few times now. They kind of trust us, and they know that we're not going to mess with them. Although I did ask one question that David cropped up. So David's in the back. So actually, that's both in Alien and in some of the other ones we've done. The comms person is literally in the call with us. So the Alien Isolation interview with Al Hope and Simon Ridge, Kieran Chester is literally sitting in the call with his camera off, just waiting to occasionally go, nope, not that one. Like, can we skip over that, or let's not get in? To his credit, Kieran never brought that up once with Alien, which I think worked out for us because both, one, we really foregrounded what the questions were, but also one of the other things is I think because we do that foregrounding, we get a little bit more trust. So if sometimes we stretch the question a little bit, we get a little bit more, and it's like, that's fine because we know what the parameters are. So if I ask a little follow-up which goes into a little bit more detail, sometimes we get something quite juicy come out the back of it, right? And then the most recent one with Massive, I asked something, and as soon as I said it, I was David's camera came on, and I'm like, there we go. Yep, I knew that one was going to set David off. Which it was a one-off. I was like, that's fine. We're not going to put it in the episode anyway. It was purely I was curious. But I knew that was one step too far. So yeah, it's an interesting process as we go through it, and I think we're getting better at it as well because we've now done it we've done so many interviews in the past year, versus, if you actually look at all of these, only Space Marine and Star Wars in the main series is actually our own, is us researching it. Like the others are using other people's materials. The rest of them are all interviews. Which is
Donkey Kong.
Oh, Donkey Kong's like design dive anyway, so it's fine. Right, I'm gonna over in YouTube, I'm gonna kick off a Q&A. So if people have so if you have questions, start dropping them in for us, and because I see them sometimes coming up in the chat, I want to make sure we actually answer them. Get to them throughout, and we'll get to them. Right. So I've kicked off there is now a Q&A running in the chat over on YouTube. So if you do have questions, do throw them in. I did see one that was from Loyal Mussy, who said, do you find it harder to explain your channel / brand and what it represents with the change in meaning and usage of the term AI in the past few years? So yes, I think also when you start looking at the numbers on our YouTube performance, I actually think a lot of that partially has to do with the very negative perception that AI is developing in many respects. But to circle it around to Dugu actually a little bit, one of the things that you, I, and the rest of the team have thought about a lot when we started the conference up was we're creating a conference about AI in game development, and what does that mean? And I think that was a long conversation that you and I, alongside Matthias and Alan and Gabrielle, in like last summer, trying to figure out like what is a game AI conference in 2024, and who are we servicing? Because we could quite easily annoy and upset everyone, and nobody turns up, right? So I think it's an interesting question. I think we're still asking ourselves, fairly regularly behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, I guess that as well. Like bringing, what is AI in games and what is our community as well, and how we can improve things or bring our community better as well. So it almost felt like we had two pillars, right? How we can provide value in the AI in game development space and for the community itself. And we actually wrote quite a lot of, values, what it means, what it doesn't mean, and so on. And we keep, iterating on it, hopefully improving things and understanding and value over time.
Yeah, I think it is something we're going to keep asking ourselves over the next year or two, because also as standards and techniques are becoming normalized as well? Like, are those things that we are happy to align with or advocate for? Are these things interesting? And it's interesting. I remember chatting briefly with Paul Roberts, who is the fella that is the editor of the Game AI Uncovered book series. If you're interested in game AI and really want to hear more from people working in commercial games, go check out those books. They're really good. I think we're on volume 4 now, at least. If it's not out, it's about to come out. And I remember he and I kind of talking a little bit about how do we decide what goes in. And I said, well, as owners of our own event, I do think we have to think a lot from an editorial perspective of like, what do we think is valuable? Both as somebody who's running an event, but also knowing our audience that is going to try and come to the event. And he was kind of surprised. He's like, I didn't expect you to be thinking so much about the editorial side and like being that specific about it. And I was like, well, if we don't, who else is going to, right? Because I think right now, so much of the conversation around AI and game development comes from the fact that a lot of people don't have sufficient understanding of the space that we can talk about it in a rich way, right? And get into the issues of it beyond the immediate, particularly with generative AI, like ethical concerns and legal issues and copyright and intellectual property. Like those are evergreen. Everyone can kind of talk about those. But getting into the weeds on the technical side of it is not something I think a lot of people can do. And I felt, and that's something that we do actually, factor in, I think, when we're looking at a lot of this stuff, for sure. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to add to that. But yeah, it's been a. I wish GDC had the same discussion, says Phil. Ugh. Pushing on. So yeah, what else have we got this year? So just looking at the rest of the videos, we did the GDC, no, not GDC. We did Design Dive on Donkey Kong, which apparently, according to a poll that I put out on YouTube, was one of like the most highest rated in terms of people that voted in the poll. They said that was one of their favorite episodes this year, which is really interesting.
It's my favorite episode.
Nobody fucking watched it though, but
I watched it.
I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of it. I think it's great.
I mean, it was such a fun episode.
And then we did like 3 more interviews back to back because we did David Durst with the ML Move project.
Can I please comment on that interview? I have this running joke, which is that I'm a marketing person. The only transformer I wanted to know about was Bumblebee. But this interview, it made it worse. Like, I already knew too much about transformers. And then David Durst goes on like about transformers for like good 20 minutes
in
that interview. Like at one point I was like, I feel like I need to go back to my physics books. Like I need to go back and study physics all over again.
To be fair, I said this at the time when we were editing it. There was bits I had to go back and double check that what David was talking about, because I'm like, all right, because he's lived in this space, like critically, as we say in the video, this is his PhD. He spent the last couple of years living in this, whereas I'm not as immersed in that space as he is. So I thought like he gives us a lot of really interesting stuff to talk about. But I'm like, oh God, right, yeah, I'm challenged to keep up with him during the interview, but he's great. I loved the energy that he had for us, and also like critically, again, that's a fun GDC story because I literally met him at GDC like 2 years ago or something, and he said so the way GDC works, right, is Dugu and I are at the AI Summit Monday, Tuesday, and then we don't really see each other from Tuesday evening until like Friday evening when we go for the dinner, and then we're off doing our respective business. You're off, wearing the creative assembly hat, and I'm out doing biz dev for trying to find clients and business and everything else. And David had messaged me and said, I'd just like to meet. And I was like, yeah, sure, let's grab a coffee. So we go grab a coffee, and he's just telling me about his PhD. And we were talking about the ideas that he had, and I was pitching some ideas to him. Like, I want to say it was 2023. I think that's right. And then, a year later, he was like, I basically built a transformer to do this thing in Counter-Strike. And I'm like, you did what now? And that's how we ended up doing the interview. And again, we interviewed him. I think I interviewed him and Al Hope in the same week. So again, that was like, I'm so sorry that interview took so long to come out. But I'm really pleased with that episode. I think it's a really interesting example of like training small machine learning models to solve very specific problems is a really useful and valid thing. And it seems like in the AI hype, we have forgotten that, which to that end, the Star Wars machine learning model is very small, and get ready for another very small machine learning model in our interview with Ubisoft that will come out in January. Like, David Rinaldi, he was like, ask us how big the model is, because he'd seen the ML Move video and he's like, we're smaller. It's so funny. So yeah, let's see. Rounding out, we've got we brought back artifacts. I hadn't done an episode on artifacts in over a year, and we got the team in from Outer Brain Studios to talk about blood typers. That was a lot of fun. That literally came about from a drunken conversation in the bar at Develop. Because Alex Shedlock, who's the designer on that, I've known Alex since we worked together on Espire 2, which was a game that came out on the Quest. And we get on quite well because we were the two Scottish guys on the project, surrounded by Australians. So immediately we bonded. Don't get me wrong, the rest, the Aussies were all amazing. And to this day, I still have to struggle to not call him Sherry by default, because everybody got a nickname on that dev team except me, because Tommy sounded fine. They were like, all right, Tommy works as like an Australian name. So Alex Shedlock became Sherry. And then, yeah, there was like so many people on the team that all had like nicknames of some sort, or like just truncated versions of their name. And then I was just Tommy. I was like, all right, I don't get a nickname, but it's fine. So yeah, we bumped into each other in the pub, and I was like, you know what, let's just do this. Let's do a video. I think it'd be fun. And we put that one together. That was a good laugh. We just put out Amnesia the Bunker. And that was a great one. Again, I think Frederick and Max were super accommodating for us and just told some fun stories as well. Also the totally wild bit where I just had this question of like, by the way, this seems like, you know, because this was the reason that I ended up playing the game, was people said to me, it's very much like Alien Isolation. I was like, oh, did you guys inspired by Alien? Like what brought that about? And they're like, oh yeah, we watched your video. And I was like, what? That was fun. And Shraddha.
I just remember that like we've gotten very fast at doing these videos, Tommy. Like
We have got faster when we have
yeah,
time to do it.
like our handoffs have gotten better because we don't use Teams again.
Right. Yeah, I'm still thinking, do we pivot over to DaVinci at some point? But we've got a better
I'm just
workflow.
lazy because we have like the After Effects files, we have those Photoshop files. We'll have to like move away from all of it.
Yep.
That is how Adobe gets you in their hooks, you know, like all their stupid like one thing.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, that team system is terrible in it. I don't know how anybody actually works with that in any meaningful way, but we got there in the end. And so yes, the last video, this was a nightmare actually, just to make this, because you and I have been trying to figure out how to like process the 5 terabytes of video footage that Raf and his team gave us. Like, have you seen the hard drive, Dugu?
No, I have not. Is it big?
Talk among yourselves.
Yeah, also like I really think I should have just taken the hard drive and copied it there, like into another hard drive while I was at the event. Because
Oh wow.
A 5 terabyte hard drive, like this thing, it's one of those ones that needs a separate, I'm not dropping it, good lord. It requires like a separate power supply for it. It's that big. It's absolutely humongous.
next time Also, I had no contribution in this editing business. I tried, I failed. I don't have the system, like a computer system who can render this fast.
Well, but it was also what it was running through Blackmagic. It's all
Yes.
Blackmagic Raw, and then we had to process it all into something smaller so we could actually edit it. So my computer was literally running for like a week while I'm asleep, just churning through all these videos and processing them and everything else. So yeah, that was something. But yeah, we've got the. I'll probably publish, provided everyone on the team is happy. I'll publish the vlog on Monday. I think once everyone's seen it and they're happy that they've not been incriminated too badly. Well, you do get your on camera debut. Your speaking
Yes.
debut on AI in games. There you go.
Say again, sorry, I didn't understand. I was
You
trying
get
to
you get like your speaking debut. You're actually on camera talking to the audience in the video.
Yeah, and I actually realized how slowly I speak. In my brain, it's not that slow. And in the video, I'm like, I speak really slowly. Interesting.
I think you're just trying to be clear, right? And so when you're enunciating a bit more clearly, maybe that's it.
I think Tommy, you speaks really fast. So when somebody like starts talking after you, it feels like they're talking slowly.
Yeah, it's the delta. That makes
That's it. Yeah, it's the delta. Yeah, absolutely.
I like it. It's really great job, Tommy. Thank you for putting all those things together. I think it sums up the day really, really well. 2 days.
Yeah, there was one bit I had in it that I cut, which was just there's one clip where I slow it down and zoom in, and it was just like, see how stressed I am. And there's one clip on Sunday where you can just see my face, and I'm just like, just zooming in on me as it looks like I'm having a heart attack. And there was a point, I think, that you and I were outside, I think, outside the venue on the Sunday, where I was just like, so many things are going wrong. I'm kind of freaking out right now. And I think you and Matthias were out having a smoke or something. And I'm like, but we got there. We got there in the end. Everything was fine.
Everything is fine.
Yeah, it's a little bit like a marathon, right? When you run long distances, you feel like, right, I have to remind myself I'm never doing this again. And 2-3 weeks later, you go like, I can't wait for the next year's one. And, that's where we are, I guess.
Yeah.
It was a nice reminder, I guess, in the build up that as we get ready to start again for 2026, and also we're kind of doing stuff for 2027, which we're not really talking about that much, but like we're already planning ahead for the next 2 years. And I was like, I need to get to a point where that doesn't happen to me again, because seeing me on the Sunday, or the footage of me on the Sunday, like my body language is different, and you can see the stress on my face in a way that I was like, man, this doesn't. Monday I look quite different, and Tuesday I look quite different, but yeah, that Sunday I look really bad, and I'm like, yeah, we need to work. I need to work on that. I need to work on that for sure. I just had a question come in.
It's gonna be fine. Sally will fix like whatever's not fixed.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That is our secret weapon, is Sally, right? Like, she is just amazing. And I think even she's had a crazy year. I think she was looking forward to having a couple of weeks off. So I think she's earned it as well. Like, as actually, it was funny because there's a slide coming up where I show you like just events throughout the year and like photos that were taken. I have so many selfies with Sally, and often bumping into Sally at other events, because she's always doing something somewhere. So it's always lovely to catch up with her. The Bull asks, are there any videos you really wanted to make but couldn't for whatever reason?
So many. We have a list, Tommy. We have a list.
Oh yeah, there's always a list. Excuse me. There's always a
We
list.
have a list of projects which we wanted to do but never got around. But having said that, like we had like a target of doing one video a month, and we managed to do that.
We almost hit that. So I'm pleased
Yeah.
that we managed to pull that off. Sorry.
Yeah. But remember, like just last week we scrapped a video which we were going to do that, okay, now it's not like current enough.
Oh, the Arc Raiders one.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say
Like,
I wanted to do that and couldn't. It was just, I thought that was an easy one for us to do. And you said no. And I was like, okay.
I didn't say no. I just said it's not current
You said
enough.
no.
Okay, fair. I said no.
No, I think there's always a backlog. Like we all, as Shraddha intimates, we have like a list of about. Hang on, I'm going to count them right now. Let's go and have a look in the
1,
backlog.
2, 3, 4,
There's 8 in the
5,
backlog.
6, 7, 8. Yeah.
There's 8 in the backlog, and then I think there's about 4 or 5 in planning right now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in planning. 6 in planning.
6 in planning and 8 in the backlog. So yeah, there's always something that I'm like, this is the year I'm going to do that one, and whether we make it work, I think is a bigger question. I think one of the funnier things. By the way, I am seeing them over in the QnA because I've noticed Niels has just copied his over from the QnA into the main chat. We do see them. Don't worry, we're going to get to them. But there's always like 1 or 2 that I'm like, maybe this is the year we do it. And the funny thing I've been thinking about is, so we're now on, we have episode 83 and 84 already planned out. Actually, we already kind of know what 85 is. At this rate, we need to start planning for episode 100. What's going to be the game that is the 100th episode? Has to be a banger.
Feeling like we will plan something and then something else will just happen. So yeah, we'll plan. But
I have an idea, but I have to go and do the research. And I don't know if I've got enough yet to warrant it. But yeah. So yeah, we've got enough. We've already got, I think by the end of next year, we're pushing episode 90. So
yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, we've got a lot planned, and there's a few big ticket numbers that I'm like, before I hit number 100, we need to do these.
Again.
Sorry?
There's saying Alien Isolation again, episode 100.
No, we're not doing Alien again for episode 100. No. In fact, we've actually got potentially we've got the next retrospective lined up. Although I'm actually wanting to reach out to, I know someone at a comms team at a studio who's helped us before, and I was like, any chance we could do a retrospective on this game for 2026? And I haven't messaged them, but I think it would be a really good one to do it with. I'll tell you offline, but we might end up working on 2. I actually had 3 ideas for retrospectives this year, and we have 1 confirmed, and then 2 more I still want to try and explore. So
it's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll do
I'll
the
tell you later.
and then yeah.
I'll tell you later.
See, this is what happens. This is why we have backlog, guys. Like, he thinks of things and then he puts them in backlog. And then we try and figure out and make it happen.
Let's see. Lion. Oh, hey, Leon over on Twitch says, if we're talking future episodes, I hope it could be one of mine. He's working on a goal-oriented action planning real-time strategy game. Is that well?
Yeah. Can I please get in touch with you and like do an interview?
When it's done, the game's out. Like, we'll talk about it, or close to out. There's actually, that reminds me, I need to go and I'll come back to that later. So anyway, right, I'll quickly do this. Like, so we actually, here's the numbers. Like, we like to show this every year. If you actually wonder how well the YouTube channel's doing, and critically, I think coming back to the point that was raised earlier, our numbers have struggled in the last couple of years, both I think in a combination of the perception of AI in the games industry, but also the way YouTube's recommendation systems continue to change. So this year, we put out more videos than 2025. We're up by 1 video. We're about 1.1 million views, which is pretty awesome. Like, the fact that we've been able to keep it to, 2023 was our low point. We only hit 925,000 views. But actually, it's our shortest amount of watch time since 2018, and also our shortest number of subs. And one of the big reasons for that is about 250,000 of those views are shorts. The kids don't watch long form content, and it really amuses me to this day that there are certain episodes we have now done where the shorts and TikToks have had 10, 20 times the number of views as the actual video. And then we go, this is a clip from a longer video. Click the link and you can go and it doesn't, people don't do that. The number of people that watch a short and then watch the video that the short is from is like a tiny fraction. It is ridiculous. And also, that's the top 10 videos. That's the most watched videos this year. And so unlike last year, where only 2 Alien Isolation videos were in the top 10, there are 3 Alien Isolation videos in the top 10. And so, yes, welcome to Alien Isolation and Games. I'm Tommy Thompson. This is Shraddha Gupta. And episode 100 will be Alien Isolation again. No, it's not going to be.
No.
We're done. No more. Like, that's it. Done. They've got to make another one now for us to care.
Talking about this, we were just discussing this, like the games which are not as big as Alien Isolation, while like they don't get that many views, they also target like a very small community.
Yes.
And that's kind of really cool. Like for example, with Trepang 2, like the people who actually saw the video, they loved, like the comments on that video was so great that everybody was so excited for the video.
Both that and Amnesia, they both had exactly the same thing. Like
and
the
same for
fans
Amnesia, like,
turned up for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just great. Like I think like we would like to support like more smaller games and indie games and like figure out like what they are doing and what cool things they are doing, and it's not just so since clearly YouTube doesn't make us money, guys. We've got
the money slide coming up. The money slide's coming up. You'll get to see how much money we make from the YouTube. It's not a lot.
So like it's not really about like getting more and more views on the on our content, but like providing a service for like a smaller community and talking about the games they love, you know.
The funny one that's in this is, if you notice, the 5th one is the Monte Carlo tree search, which is actually based on the old format of AI 101 before I reformatted it. So on my to-do list right now is a new version of Monte Carlo tree search AI 101, but in the new style of the series. And I was really tempted to make it also because MCTS was in my brain, because I wrote that whole chapter of Goal State about MCTS and it took me like a week to do. I want to do it on Fable Legends, which is the game that never shipped, but implemented. I was going to say, Dougal, you might remember this. Gareth Mountain talked about it. I think it was Nuclei 2016.
Oh yeah, that rings a bell.
It was like one of the outside of Total War, I think it was one of the first AAA games that was really exploring the use of MCTS, but it actually never, they implemented it and everything. It was in the game and then the game never came out. So I don't know. I thought that might be an interesting one to do. So we'll get there. But yeah, shout out to Townscaper and Facade, which both of those videos are quite evergreen. They continue to, and also you'll notice 3 of those videos are AI 101. So one of the other things about our videos is, like Shraddha says, a lot of them are quite interest based. So people go, right, cool, I like this game, so they watch the video, or they don't watch the video because they go, I don't care for this game. Whereas if you look at the view counts on our AI 101s, they're more or less like linear. Like they're constantly growing up, because you always have somebody going, what's a behavior tree? Or what's goal-oriented action planning? So when you look at a lot of the view counts from our videos, they have a big surge at the start and then often they taper off, whereas the AI 101s have this near linear growth, which is quite cool. And then things like Facade, Townscaper, and actually Alien have spikes that happen because people go, oh yeah, have you ever seen this video about Townscaper? Like, it's a really cool game. Or every Alien day, the Alien videos all get a bump. Or when the announcement was made that there was going to be a sequel being made, all the videos got a bump. So, but yeah, there you go. That's the numbers for the year. So hang on, I'm going through the stuff, but there was a question. I don't know if I can answer this one. Niels asked, what's the most interesting usage of procedural content generation you've seen in a released game this year? I'm trying to think of something that has been... probably Blueprints, even though I didn't like Blueprints.
I like the game. I don't know why you don't like the game.
Okay, wait, why don't you talk about why you like the game rather than me just talking about why I didn't like the game, because I don't think that's fair.
I thought it was interesting puzzles. Like, yeah, sometimes it didn't make sense. I wouldn't find the key in the door, but like, it's like interestingly fun. Like, but I just never got like too much time to play it. It was just, I still think it is a good game.
Leon did just say, Tommy, what about Blood Typers? I'm like, yeah, I enjoyed Blood Typers. I don't think Blood Typers does a huge amount. Like, actually, the point of that video is that you can create something that's kind of a formulaic PCG system, but you have to balance it correctly. Otherwise, it can become a bit unhinged and it removes the joy of that game, because it's kind of a friend slop game, right? It's all about getting in there with friends and messing around. And if the level generation gets in the way of it, it loses the fun. Like we didn't talk about it in the video, but I mentioned it very briefly. Like, my friends and I played a pre-release build of that game in about February, and the level generator kept breaking it. Like, there was the levels were too long or they were too windy, and then sometimes there was actual errors where like levels were being built in levels, or validation constraints weren't being satisfied. So like, it either would make the level too hard or too linear, or so. To me, that story is more about the balancing act in it and making sure that it adds that novelty without getting up too far away from like the real fun of that game. I am now like genuinely trying to think of all the games that I played this year. Dugu, have you got anything? Have you played anything PCG heavy this year?
Yeah, I've been thinking, but I can't really think of anything that PCG stands out. But I also played very little games this year compared to others, to be honest. So it's probably me rather than the games not using beautiful PCG.
No. Yeah. It's kind of there's a little, no, I don't know if that's procedural generation. There's a bit of randomness in it. I don't know if I would call it PCG per se. I'm now genuinely like scrolling through my archived like record of games that I've played this year. I didn't play an awful lot of PCG heavy games. Ball Pit, I think, to some degree. I think Ball Pit does some really fun stuff in like how certain like weapon load, it's, because it's basically kind of Breakout as a roguelike, and then subsequently like the certain selection of weapons you get along the way, you've got to be very strategic about which ones you select, and then you can mutate them and evolve them and everything else. I quite enjoyed that. If you haven't played Ball Pit, go and check it out. I think it's pretty good. So yes, that was the question. Right. So quick shout, we'll go over to the newsletter. So the newsletter we've been very busy with the newsletter this year. We managed to put out, Dugu has went offline, but that's fine. With the newsletter, we put out 47 issues this year, which, considering it's 52 weeks in a year, that's not bad at all. It will be 49.
Yeah.
Because we've got the 2 Game of the Year issues coming out. Have you written your Game of the Year?
Yes, I did. I told.
You just need to put it in. We just need
So
to put it
I
in.
can't write. Like, just a disclaimer to everyone, I can't write.
I'm looking forward to it, because yours will be like, it's fine. And then I write like half a page about like, this is why this game is in my
it's
top 10.
essentially that. Like I have written one-liners on why I like this game. It was fun, and mostly it just says that.
Fair enough. Yes, indeed, Leon. Ball Pit. Ball X Pit, I believe it is written. But yes, Ball Pit. That was the one. And so, yeah, we've got all of those games. We've got the 2 more episodes coming out. That's like our Game of the Year. The last issue was actually the one in the bottom right there, which is Game AI's Existential Crisis Part 2. That was a right meaty issue to get out the door, and I think the Existential Crisis at least has one, if not two more issues left to go. So I was going to say, like, first of all, we've had a really good reception to the newsletter this year. Like, I talked about this a little bit last year as well. Like, the Venn diagram of our YouTube audience versus our newsletter audience has there's very little overlap. Like, people either read our newsletter or they watch the videos. And we've even I started tracking the numbers on, like, hey, what if we put a link to the YouTube video in an issue? Does somebody watch it? But also, like, we then reference the newsletter in our YouTube stuff. Do people go and read it? And we found that there's very little traffic between them. Very little, like bordering on minuscule. But the newsletter has cultivated an audience, I'd say more in the games industry than our YouTube stuff does. It's great, actually. It's really cool to see people reading our stuff and engaging with it. And also just the number of people I now meet who go, I read your newsletter. And they go, I didn't know you do YouTube. And I'm like, oh, but it's how people come across the content, right? So, and we've done a lot of really big topics, really meaty topics. The UK copyright consult. I've got a follow up on that. I don't know if you guys saw this, but they actually published, the UK government published their response. Like, here's all the responses that we actually got from the copyright consultation, and here's what people were saying about it. Oh, that was fun. Also, a shout out to all the lawyers who apparently read our newsletter and they keep messaging me going, you did a good job of that. And I'm like, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what I'm talking about. And they say, no, like, you're actually saying some really good things. I'm like, all right, yeah.
Like, there was a point where I was very sure that he's studying law on the side.
By proxy. See if I can get my law degree from, like, issues of AI in games. That's the trick. Ooh.
So this has been fun. I can't believe I'm watching your streams by accidentally jumping in it. Sorry about that. But yeah, just came and I gotta go to the pub.
I was gonna say, is it your Christmas party tonight or like end of year?
Okay. So today is just low-key pub before my what's it called? Father-in-law's 17th birthday tomorrow.
Oh wow. Oh wow, amazing. Well, happy birthday to your father-in-law. Yes, have a great one. Thank you so much for coming by to hang out, and everyone will see you on YouTube next week, I guess.
Oh, great. Yeah, have a great Christmas and New Year, and yeah, I'll talk to you later.
All right, have a good one. Take care. Whee! Awesome. That was very cool of Dougal to turn up. We might actually, I was going to say, because funnily enough, I think Matthias and Gabrielle said they might be able to make it, but Dougal was the one I didn't expect who'd be able to join us because I knew she was busy. So I'm really glad that she was able to come by for a little bit. So yeah, the newsletter has done really well. We even took a few weeks off, so I think there are one or two bonus issues in there where I was literally just, here's a bunch of talks at the AI Games conference. Why haven't you bought a fucking ticket yet? But I didn't realize until I actually pulled these thumbnails out, like 3 of them are law. So it's...
I mean, I'm sure there are more which are law. Like,
I talked about the law too much this year. So yeah, if you haven't, go to AIandGames.com. You can sign up. You can read these every week. And the AI Existential Crisis, that is a multi-part essay I'm writing about basically the state of AI in game development right now, for NPCs and the like, and the problems that are emerging that we are trying to figure out how to solve. That will become a video, I think, in 2026. We're going to turn that into a video after it's done as a written version, because I will probably be shorter than the written version, because otherwise it'll be 2 hours long and it's just me shouting at the camera for for like the whole time. So, but we'll figure that out. So let's see, quickly talk about the numbers on that. So the numbers on this is really good. actually. So our YouTube numbers have been going down and a little, and this year they kind of stabilized a little bit. This, like the newsletter is going up and up and up. So when back in 2023, I didn't actually publish a weekly thing. It was just, here's a place where I publish written versions of the website. And then we started writing the newsletter in 2024. And so between 2023 and 2024, the jump is massive. Of course, we have a 470% increase in views because like no one was really reading the website. Now we actually got about, 175% increase in subs, free subs, that includes free and paid, if I remember right. And 54% increase in views. And we're not done yet for the year. So already, like, we might actually get close. I don't think we'll hit 200,000 by the end of the year, but we'll get pretty close to it, I think. Which is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
And that's the top 10 most read. Although I will say there's a slight trick here in the numbers, because the two issues in first and third place, those are issues of The Take, which is my rant newsletter where I go off and have a rant about something, but it's paywalled for a month. So everyone gets it with the paywall on it when it first goes out, and then it goes out to everyone who gets it for free like a month later. So those numbers are skewed because it goes out to everyone's inbox twice. But interestingly, I would say if you don't include those numbers, the number one issue was the Arc Raiders Ethical AI, which, yeah, that blew up on social media when we put that one out. Look at it this way. Blue Sky loved it. LinkedIn hated it. Gleam from that, I had some people actually shouting in my comments on LinkedIn, which I didn't think was. Remember that guy? He just turned up like 2 weeks after the issue came out and just shouted at me in the comments, and I'm like, okay,
so
bro.
Weird. Like I don't think he read the article at all.
None of them did.
Yeah, I'm like, why are you shouting about this? Like, this is not what it says. Like, if you were shouting about something which was said in the article, I would understand. But you're just randomly shouting without even having read. Like, you read the title of the article and you just started shouting. And that's internet for you guys.
Yep. I was like, okay, sure thing, bro. So that was interesting. But yeah, also interestingly, the predictions issue was in the top 10. That predictions issue did really well. And then I think we're going to do our predictions for 2026. I still haven't figured out what all my predictions are, because at least this year I got all of them but one right. So I'm feeling clairvoyant. If I can figure out how to make clairvoyant enough that we make more money, that would be great. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, so on that note, actually, let's talk money. Here's the one that you've all been waiting for, kids. Like, actually, does our content creation make money? And the answer is yes, but not that much. So, first of all, a big thank you to everyone who continues to support us. Like, it is a really, really huge boost to us. It's one of the things that we always have to balance between is whether we're doing stuff on the business side where we're actually working with games companies, or are we making our own thing? And the funny aspect of this business is, from the beginning, is it's always a loss leader. So we make content that goes out on the web. Like, the amount of effort we put into the newsletter in particular for the amount of money it makes is ridiculous, but we make money from it indirectly. And that's a really valuable part. Even when it stresses me the fuck out, trying to get part 2 of that existential crisis out before Christmas was giving me a proper, head-splitting headache. But also, so we've now got a lot of support comes directly to our website at aingames.com. And we used to have it go through Patreon. we still have Patreon up and running, and we've got discounts on both of these, so I'll share some links on the next bit. But just to give you some insight, so we've been dropping supporters on Patreon since 2022. And critically, I remember at the time, a lot of that also came from the fact people were struggling. You know, a lot of people that support us are students or indies or folks with not a lot of free cash in their pocket. Totally fine. If you can't afford to support us, it's like, if it's between that and feeding you and your family, just fucking feed you and your family. Like, we will get by. But every little helps us. So we've been dropping every year. But when we started doing paid subscriptions on the website last year, that helped mitigate the shortfall. So, for example, in 2023 to 2024, we lost 25 patrons, but we gained 36 premium subs on the website. This year, we dropped another, 25 patrons, but we gained just shy of 30. So just more than 25 on the website. So those two things have actually mitigated each other to some extent. So you can actually see the total amount of money that comes in. So it was like 3,900 on Patreon. It was 3,400 on AIandGames.com. And then we made about £2,000 on YouTube. And one of the big reasons for that dip is because more people are watching shorts. They are monetized differently from regular videos. One of the big things that actually boosted our revenue this year is the Alien Isolation retrospective is nearly 2 hours fucking long. So there's lots of adverts in that. So it gets the RPM up, because it goes, hey, people are watching this for a long time. This means we can put higher quality adverts on it and everything else, unless you got an ad blocker on. But you know, you do you. I ain't going to tell you what to do. So actually, I did the numbers. So our actual revenue from this side, from our content creation, is £9,300. It's technically down £200 on last year. But we get sponsorships on the newsletter. So actually, the revenue from our content creation is up this year. I didn't bother to check how much our sponsorship revenue was, but it was more than enough to put us over that. So, yeah, we've actually made more money from our content this year, but that's because we started having sponsors on the newsletter, which Shraddha's pushing very hard right now, getting more and more businesses. But also, we're very careful about who we get to sponsor us, because we don't just want any old Tom, Dick, and Harry. We want things that are going to be interesting and things that are relevant to our audience. So we turn down money sometimes because we're like, nah, like this isn't a good. God, I could just show you, like, in a given week how many weird sponsorship offers I get for content creation, and it's just bullshit, and it's fuck all money to peddle absolute shite. So yeah, we're very particular about who we're working with. But yeah, that's the numbers. Also, can I just point out two things? One, that money doesn't actually, I'm trying to think, 9,300, that means it pays for Shraddha for a couple of months, right? That actually is only about a third of the income I need to pay my basic living where I live in England. But yeah, that gets me about a couple of 3-ish months of Shraddha's time, I think. So look at it this way. The more of you who support us, Shraddha gets fed.
Yes.
She has a husband and child who also like food.
Yeah, and a cat, guys.
And a cat. I forgot. I keep forgetting about the cat. But the other thing about this is we make, like, this is less than 10%. I won't give the actual number because then you can go and figure it out yourself. But it is less than 10% of the actual company revenue. Like, we make so little from our content creation side, but we're hoping to build the content creation side so that it mitigates how much additional work we have to do on the other side, so we can focus on the things that we enjoy doing. Also, I didn't stress that what the conference numbers bring in, but that's not related to it. But certainly, like, the numbers we make from our content creation, it accounts for less than 10% of everything that we do. But the more of it that actually, the fact that it's managed to stay close to where it was in terms of percentage as numbers are going up is, and this includes the sponsorship, I guess, is indicative of the fact that we're growing and everything else. To that end, I will just quickly say, but if it's the end of the year, we do actually have a special deal that's running on both aiandgames.com and on Patreon. If you support us for an annual subscription, you get it for 50% off. It works out, I think, to about 30 quid a year. And that gets you, you know, early access to the videos when they come out. You get to see you're in the video dev part of the Discord server, so you can have conversations and actually see bits of the videos as they're coming up. We're going to restart the production meetings in January, where we actually meet with the higher tiered supporters to talk about the stuff that we're doing. I've been meaning to kick this project back off again, and it kept falling down my radar. You also get the premium newsletter every month, which gives you a background as to what's happening. We get the issues of the take, things like the Researcher's Digest. So there's a bunch of stuff that you get for being a premium sub. And you can do that on aiandgames.com. You can do it on Patreon as well. And it really does help us out. It's such a useful thing. I actually got a lovely message. Hang on, I'm going to go and find my inbox. There was a really nice email. Somebody signed up as a premium sub literally like 2 days ago. And I just want to read out the message because it was quite nice. No, that's actual emails that have came in from business, and I don't want to deal with those right now. Sorry. Where was it?
Having said that, Tommy doesn't really put much of like his content under paywall, guys. Like he hates it.
I know.
Every time we have this discussion that Tommy, you don't put anything under paywall. I get
know.
like a very grumpy face staring back at me.
I know you get really annoyed with me because I don't paywall enough, but so this is the problem, right? Because we do this because paywalls are a great way in order to increase monetization, but I also fucking hate paywalls. And I'm even that kind of person where they're like, oh, subscribe for £1 a month. And I'm like, fuck you. And I'll walk off. So I totally understand. Like, this is why you're here, because you're a bit more shrewd as the business person. You're like, we're just going to fucking do this and we're going to make money. And I'm like, okay. And I can blame you if everyone hates him. Like, it was Shraddha's idea.
It is going to be usually my fault because you hate it.
These, by the way, this is what our business meetings are like. You just shout at me for 20 minutes.
Like my next year's plan is like quietly take over like what goes on the paywall. I will like go in the back end and like put half articles in the paywall.
Never should have gave you access to the website.
Numbers, this is what I will have to do.
Okay, so I found the message. So it was an annual subscription. And we got left this message that said, as a researcher currently going into the field of games and AI, I found both your writing on the website and your videos extremely helpful for recontextualizing what I do. This is a heated moment for all of us, as you could probably agree, with artists and devs and corporations butting heads over issues around generative AI. I find it more necessary than ever for a voice of reason such as yours. And I thought, oh, that was really nice. I haven't actually had a chance to respond to this message, but while we're live, thank you so much for that. That was a really nice message to get. And it's a big part of our editorial around what we do, is like, we're trying to be the grown-ups in the room who are able to give a nuanced take on this reality and in this situation. It's also why we're getting asked to do a lot more press. So I'm doing an interview with Games, even though I'm on holiday at the end of today, I'm doing an interview with GamesBeat on Monday. And I think I'm now lining up a conversation with Bloomberg in January. So we get a lot of press requests now. Like I've probably done more press this year than I have done before, because you get all these, like, we did interviews with the Financial Times, we did stuff with the BBC again, we did stuff with a couple of international things. Like, they're coming out and like, we just want to find someone we can talk to about this. Like, my words appeared in GamesBeat just a couple of weeks ago. Like, it's nice that we're getting traction in that sense, that people are going, I need a comment on this that isn't utter bullshit, right? We'll go and ask these guys, which is really nice. So yeah. We'll get there. So yes, if you can spare the cash, for 30 quid a year, you can get all these extra goodies, and also probably more goodies, because Shraddha's going to fucking stuff the paywall by the sounds of it. But yeah, you can do that over at aiandgames.com or over on Patreon as well. And right, so I thought, I like to do this. I thought, let's do fun stuff that happened this year. And usually it's photos of me talking at events, and then I couldn't find any of the photos of me speaking. So here's just all the selfies I took. You and I are only in two of them together.
We have selfies because I thought we completely just forgot to take photos.
I actively went and hunted down photos of you and I because I remember you saying after the conference you were quite, and I felt bad about it too. Like, we never got a photo of just you and me at the conference. We were so busy. So I felt. Leon just asks, no Raid Shadow Legends sponsorships. Oh my, there was a phase, I want to say about 2022, 2023, I would have like 3 different marketing firms asking me to do a plug for Raid Shadow Legends a week, right? It was in like my junk, like literally my junk folder in my inbox was Raid Shadow Legends ? Do you want to do a promo on Raid Shadow? Have you checked out this amazing new mobile? I've still never played Raid Shadow Legends. I don't give a flying fuck about Raid Shadow Legends. Maybe it's a good game, I don't know, but all the advertising suggests it is not. Shraddha putting pictures of her cat behind the paywall.
Yeah.
Write that down. I don't have a cat because I'm allergic. So yeah, oh god, right, how do we work through these? So I'm gonna, is there a way to, I can't highlight them. This is annoying. So top left, I was gonna say actually right up the top, we've got a bunch of fun ones. So there's Dugu and I along with Andrea Schell. That was taken on the first day of GDC this year as we were scheming about all sorts. You and I are right below. We are in a clothes shop in London. It was literally, I was taken like 2 days before the conference or something.
Is this when we got confused with that somebody coming out?
Yes, and I thought, well, maybe we don't focus on that part. But yeah, that was, and we were like, oh. So right next to that on the right-hand side, I want to give a little shout out. That's Alina Kurishi. Alina and I, we used to work together when I was at Spilt Milk Studios working on a bunch of other things, including Trash Goblin, which eventually shipped on Steam earlier this year. The thing is, Alina was based in, I believe, Lahore in Pakistan, worked for us remotely. And so she's currently over here doing a master's degree. That is this master's game development program, which has her bouncing across different universities in Europe. And they got her a ticket to go to DevCom and Gamescom. And so it was so lovely because it was, I've known Alina now for about 2.5 years, and this was the first time we met in person, and it was a really nice moment for us to kind of hang out and just shoot the shit a little bit. And I'm glad to see that she's doing really well with her master's degree. It's got a little, well, actually I bumped into her again, like literally 3 months later at Pocket Gamer Connect in Helsinki, and I was like, right, I didn't meet you for like 2.5 years, and now we're just fucking tripping over each other. But she's lovely people. I'm so happy for her. I hope things continue to do well. Then that's me and Antonius Liapis, third along on the top row. That was at the summer school in Malmo, so that was good fun. 2 that are slightly hidden by the chat. So that's me and Ollie Withington at GDC. So he's a PhD student out of the IGGY program in the UK, and he gave his first talk at GDC. I think he crushed it. Also, I've just kept this photo small because I know she doesn't want it bouncing around the internet too much, but that's, I had a 10-minute window where I had the opportunity to meet Kat Manning, who is a narrative director at Firaxis Games, has just worked in Civilization 7. Kat has supported my work for many years. We've spoken to each other on social media for many years, and she was like, yo, are you free? Like, can you meet? And I'm like, I have like 20 minutes. And the two of us are in the garden just trying to meet up. And so I finally got to meet her. And she is the coolest person. So I'm super thrilled that I got to have even 10 minutes in her presence. I was going to say that square of like 4 small photos in the middle. So in the top left, that's me and Stevie Adams, who was a student at Derby University when he was on the art side when I was teaching programming. He was at Ubisoft Dusseldorf, and so he's out in Germany, but I think he's now working at Jagex now. But we went and had far too many beers during Gamescom, and it was so nice to catch up with him. He's fucking great people. Next to him on the right, that the fella in the salmon shirt, that's Burka Erim, who sadly Dugu had to go. Burka's really good pals with Dugu, and I met Burka through Dugu at GDC this year, and basically he was like, "You are friends with Dugu. You are now friends with us." Like it was like kind of, so Dugu's originally from Turkey. And so she's got a bunch of friends from back in Turkey who all work in games. And we got to meet and hang out with a bunch of them at GDC, and they were really nice people. And then I've seen Burka like 2 or 3 times since. And every time he's always so friendly and so cool. And so it was really nice just to hang out with him there. There's photos of me at Gamescom. There's a photo of me with a travel plug because I forgot my travel adapter when I was in Helsinki. And I was so excited that I found one. Oh, there's another photo with you in it. That one, we're in the pub in Malmo, and we went out for drinks, and a bunch of folk from the summer school came along, and a bunch of folk from Massive Entertainment, because we were drinking in the pub across the road from the studio. They came out to join us as well. Your ex-work colleagues over on the far right. So that's me with Tobias Malmum and Sophia Clark, who you all used to work at Model AI, and that was me at Nordic Game Jam because I gave a talk there.
He works with Lego now, and Tobias has his own company.
Good for them. I was going to say, because Sophia was still job hunting when I spoke to her at the time, so I'm glad. Over at Lego, nice. The digital play team?
By
or?
the time she already had an offer from Lego, but
Right.
she was not telling anyone.
Fair enough. Let's see. So right below that, there's a photo of Dugu and I at the conference, just the two of us. And next to it, that is Joel Morange, who is one of the comms folks at Ubisoft. That was when I was just out in I was just out in Paris, like last month, for the Teammates demo. They invited me out to come and check out. So I've known Joel now since like 2020. We've literally met twice. And once I saw him very briefly because I went to the Neo demo at GDC and we had a quick hi, how you doing? But this was the first time we'd had a proper sit down conversation. And I love Joel. He's such a nice guy, such a sweet guy. But also I really appreciate the faith he's had in us over the years in like supporting the work we do. Like that's how we got to do Tom Clancy's The Divisions videos. That's how we got to do Watch Dogs Legion. It's how the next episode of AI in Games, which is about Snowcap, which is a performance system that's built into Snowdrop Engine, used in games like Star Wars Outlaws and Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Like that's how that episode came about because he helped us make that happen. So I've got a lot of love for Joel because he's always like just really supportive of what we do. And yeah, can't say anything nicer about that. Let's see. I'm at Nexus, so you can see that one. That was me in Dublin. That was when I went over. The Nexus conference ran in Google's offices, and then everybody has told me that the most memorable part of my trip there, is I walk into Google's offices and then give a talk about specifically how one of Google's generative AI projects is useless as a game development tool. And I'm like, it's not exactly how I said it. Well, that's what you meant. I'm like, well, you're not wrong. Two below that. So first of all, there's one with me and George Osborne at the very bottom, and that was last week. I'm pretty sure that photo was taken. The one above it, no one else is going to know who this is, but I wanted to put it in there because it was an important one to me. That's John Levine. He was my PhD supervisor. He is now happily retired. And when I went back for a trip around Scotland in the summer. We went out for dinner. The same day his wife Gail retired, so it turned into our retirement party. So it was me and my partner, John and his partner. We went out for dinner. It was a lovely night. And immediately within 20 minutes, the two of us are talking about AI and game development. Like, blah, 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 blah. So, what else we got? The far left, Ben, with like a whole bunch of pints at Develop. So Ben is the guy that does our music. So if you're at the conference, some of the ethereal music, but also at the credits, the kind of guitar music that plays over the credits of the YouTube episodes, that's Ben. Ben runs his own audio team, and we actually live just up the road from each other. So it's funny because we're out both doing our biz dev thing at Develop. So I'm out meetings. And then this was about 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. And I turn up and I'm like, I've got 20 minutes between meetings. What's happening with you? And he just has this table full of beer. And he's like, oh, my
What?
next meeting's not till 2 o'clock, so I'm just going to get shit faced while I'm waiting on my next meeting.
I feel like all your developed stories start and end with alcohol.
Mostly because most of my developed stories start and end at the bar at the Hilton Hotel, because that's where most business happens at develop, is at the bar in the Hilton Hotel. I did down an entire pint there. One of those pints was for me, and I necked it in 5 minutes, so I could then go to my next appointment. Also, right at the bottom beneath that is a photo. Is when I went to, there was an Irish event that was held during GDC that I was invited to by the Consulate General of Ireland. This is all thanks to my friend Elaine Dowman, who does a bunch of stuff over at Nexus, and she put my name forward and was like, hey, Tommy's going to be at GDC. He's Scottish, so he's not quite Irish, but, you know. And I ended up going to this really nice function the first night at GDC, and I got a photo of myself put on the top of a Guinness pint. Actually, have I told you this story, dude, Shraddha? Like the Guinness pint thing? Right. So this lady is so it's a machine. Like if you ever go to like the Guinness tour in Dublin, you can do it for a premium. They'll take a photo of you and they put it into this machine, and then it like prods the top of the Guinness pint, the head of the pint, so it has the photo in it, right? So they've got one of these machines at this mixer, this event, and this woman comes over and she's like, right, I need to take a photo of you. And critically for context, she's a kind of middle-aged African-American woman. Okay, this is actually a really critical point because it made it really, really funny. So she takes the photo, gives me the pint, and I'm like, brilliant, thank you very much. Go over, I'm schmoozing, meeting with people, have a drink, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that was good. I like Guinness, let's go get another. And I go back over and we're queuing up and she's chatting away to all of us and everything. She was very friendly. I wish I could remember her name, but she then comes up to me and then goes, oh, right, hang on, okay, and then takes another photo. Let's get another photo. Takes another photo of me without prompting me, and then and I was like, no, like you took my photo already. Like, have you not got it in the system? She went, oh, you white boys look alike. And then the best part was it comes out, and then she goes, here's yours, and I'm like, that's not me. And there's a guy next to me, and he's leaning over my shoulder going, pretty sure that's me. And he's got a pint in his hand already with his face on it, and I'm like, I was like, but that's not me, that's him. And she went,
You do
Guinness is
look
Guinness.
alike, guys. All white boys look alike.
So I wasn't planning on showing it, but I actually have the photograph of me and this guy. We took a selfie together with our pints of his face. But it was just the way she was so dismissive. Oh, you white boys look alike. Like, didn't even think about it. It was just like, it is what it is. And I'm like, yes, that is right. Like, have you ever seen a bunch of Scottish and Irish people in the same space? We're all very pale and varying degrees of red and brown and white and like in the hair, and yeah, totally understandable. Let's see a couple other ones. No, actually, the only ones we haven't covered is right at the bottom there, fella with the glasses. That's Andrea Tucci. That was when I was down at Dev Games in Rome, which was probably still the best speaker dinner I've been to this year. Like, hanging out with a bunch of Italian people for like a 4-course meal for like several hours. And they're all they get louder and more energetic the longer the night is going and how much wine they've drank. Like, it was so funny. I went in there not really knowing anyone bar about maybe 2 people, and I left friends for life with just about everyone. That was a really great event. I love doing that one. And then there's one of me and Sally and Alan as we're scoping the conference venue out again. And the one right above me and Andrea, that is Marie Majerwell at Gamescom. And yeah. Oh yeah, and the conference in the bottom right, which I'm gonna get that. I want to get that photo. I'm gonna get that photo framed and put it in my house, like, because I love that photo of us. We all look genuinely happy for approximately 90 seconds before something else broke. Like the projector, maybe. Right. Were you going to say something?
No, I was just saying I really like the photo.
It is a good photo. I do think we should have got more photos of us as a group.
Yes.
Niels asks, do you think you'll be coming to the AI and Games Summer School in 2026? Yes, it's over in Leiden. I don't know if we're going yet. We'll find
We
out.
usually find out last minute.
Yes, that is correct. Like last year we found out about. Oh no, I think we agreed I was going about a
1 month
month
in.
about a month in advance, but I didn't get told I was speaking until about a week in advance, and then yeah. But who knows? I haven't spoken with. Originally, this year we were trying to get it so that Julian and or Yargos were going to come and talk at the AI and Games conference. At the same time, I would go and speak at the summer school. So we're kind of supporting each other in that regard. It never happened. So I think it wound up that November was just a bad fit for both of them. I know Julian in particular had family responsibilities, and then I think Yargos had work commitments. So it never happened. But yeah, there's a chance we'll go over. We'll probably catch up with them and find out in the new year. So yeah. What else? Yeah, the conference. We did a conference again. Woohoo! And that was. It was so that's it. All the photos are now out there. We've got the conference wrap up video coming out on Monday, but it was a crazy. How did you find it? Because this was your first year, right? This was your first year, like knee deep in this.
I, I've attended quite a bunch of conferences, like, and organized some, but like most of the stuff, events which I've like been part of are media events, so they're way more chaotic. This was so much more organized, guys. Like there was a process, and even though I think we went through and checked everything, there was still some things which didn't work out, but overall I felt like the conference was really organized very well. Also, I love meeting this community. Like everybody at the everyone at the conference was so nice. Like it's such like good energy. Like you love talking to people who are there. And my only thing is we need like more diversity, like just need more women there.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I mean, we were working. We partnered with Women in Games this year to try and encourage, and I think we're hoping to continue to work with Women in Games as well to try and encourage more female attendees and also speakers as well. We still managed to get a decent run of speakers in this year. I feel like we need to keep working harder on that. I think in part that's also due to the nature of the industry itself, but I think we need to keep actively, we recognize it's something we need to keep actively working on. And I think we will see how it goes, right? But I think critically the fact that these are conversations we're having all the time of like, how do we address this and how do we build on this? Because yourself brings it up, and like Dugu's a big advocate for Women in Games, has been for many, many years. Won the Women in Games award in the UK, if I remember right, like a few years back. But yeah, it is something that we're always like really actively pushing for. The other thing is we also don't have that many students still that attend. Even though we keep the student costs really low. Like it's funny, like I think I'm actually going over to speak at another university in London, and I was really tempted to go, why the fuck were you not all here in November? Like, you were literally sitting a game AI class and like the experts in the field were up the road. And I know that they know it exists because I have friends who work at that university. So I'm like, what's going on here? It's cool to see the photos though. Like, on one hand, I'm like, oh, whenever I think about it, but also, hey, this looks really awesome.
Yeah, I think the main hall was really nice idea. Like it actually like brought everyone together, and like there was a place to stand and talk and have coffee.
That way I thought, oh, this room's going to be too big. And then I think we got
Right?
maybe,
We
I
were
think,
full. Like there was no space.
I know, the main hall, I thought maybe the talk rooms might get full. And we did have this problem, I think, particularly in the cinema, which was the
The
smaller
cinema.
of the two rooms, like more than once the cinema, it was standing room outside. It was
I
very full.
told Martin, he wouldn't come out of the room. I messaged him, where are you? Why are you not out for coffee? He's like, I'm not giving up my seat. I'm sitting here. I have the best possible seat. The lighting is perfect from here. I don't know. He refused to leave the room. He just stayed in that room the whole day.
Fair enough. But yeah, it was. I think like the main hall worked. Like I did think, oh, it's going to be a bit too big, and then I think about an hour or so into the day, and I'm like, no, if this was any smaller, this would be problematic. Like people would start
Yeah.
bump. Like last year, the space that we were in was so small. But it wasn't even that small. Like if you actually go into it when it's empty, you think, oh, this isn't too bad. But then we only expected about 150 people maybe to turn up in the first year, and then we ended up with 270 in total. This year we were just shy of 400, so we were up 40% year on year in terms of ticket sales. So that was great, and also we increased the number of talks to like, what was it? We went from like 22 it was 22 or 23 last year up to like 32 this year, I think.
Yeah. 32, 30.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a few things that we still missed. Like you say, Alan's name in the program is going to haunt me for the rest of my life. Like how I missed that his name was misspelled. And the thing is, like, Alan Zacconi, so shout out Alan in case you're in the chat or if you're listening, because like it's always his surname. Like actually, at one point I got his surname spelled wrong, I think, in our company paperwork, and I had to go and get that fixed. But somehow in the program, his first name was written as Alex, and I don't know how that happened. So yeah, that haunts me a little bit. Neil says, I remember the AI in Game Summer School of 2024. Yep, and that was in Valletta and Malta. The mingling space was a very echoey hallway. Oh, God,
Yeah.
yes.
God. And you know what, guys? Like, what happened was we recorded videos in that stupid echoey place.
Yes.
And I edited those videos for summer school, and it was so annoying because there was an echo in all of the video.
There was also the lights they were using. I couldn't change the frame rate of the frequency of the video recording to match with the lights. So the lights have got all these flickers, and then they're old lights. And it was echoey, and oh God, like the Great Hall I think worked okay for us. The one problem was I did the opening and closing in that hall, and the acoustics, you think, oh, the acoustics in this room are going to be really good. The acoustics in that room are very good for performed music. They're not good when you have a microphone and you got a bunch of big speakers and you're speaking out into the audience. I couldn't tell if anyone could actually hear me when I was speaking. It was a bit of a nightmare. But also that fucking screen. Do you remember Matthias and I like building the screen?
Yeah.
In the Sunday morning, and then we had all these issues with the projector on the Monday morning, and so many things that went wrong with that. But
it wasn't just you. Like even Sally was trying to fix it.
Oh yeah.
Later.
Like everyone was freaking out trying to fix these things. But you know, these are all things that we complain about as organizers. Like nobody was complaining about the projector in the main hall in the audience feedback. I think the general feedback we got was the cinema's not big enough. We know.
Yeah.
That projector in the Ian Gulland is a pain in the ass. We know. It kept turning off.
And the line for the food was very long.
The line for the food was very long. There was only so much we could do about that.
No, I think that's something which we'll try and figure out and fix for next year, because I think it was a little chaotic, and also like the lunchtime was very good time for like just generally like socializing and meeting with more people and like talking about stuff. But we didn't make that a very fun experience. That's something which we could like figure out. We'll work on it.
It's one of the hardest bits of these things, isn't it? It's not running. Actually, a lot of the organizing of the event is one thing. Feeding people is like a recurring problem. Like the keeping the coffee flowing during the coffee. Like I remember at one point we just had to kind of like eventually Caroline,
Yeah,
I
I remember
believe.
at one point I was running around to like ask, where is the coffee guy? This coffee is over.
Yeah, it was so funny. Like eventually Caroline, who was like our connection at the university, was just like she was just on the catering people all the time, like just keep making more coffee, don't stop making coffee, keep the coffee flowing, because as soon as they put more coffee out, everyone was like, right, another talk, what talk are we going to, and then everyone would leave for a talk. And one of the funny things about that space as well was people complained there wasn't enough networking time. I think this is a very isolated incident, but some people going, there's not enough time to meet other people because everyone's going to the talks. And I'm like, all right, so the feedback you're giving me is make the talks more shit. We need shit talks so people won't go to them, and then you can network with them more. I'm like, it was a positive bit of feedback we got where people said to us, yeah, like I've not been to a conference where so many people actually go to the talks. And I'm like, that's probably because we did, we wanted to make sure the talks were good. Leon says, I have a diploma of logistics and have studied military logistics. Food people can do without. Coffee, murders may happen. Yeah, the coffee was our first. The coffee was our first big problem. We needed to get the coffee sorted out. Right, that was a big issue for us. But we got there in the end. But it was like that first morning, it was just like the coffee needs to go faster. And then eventually, there was just 2 or 3 people who were just constantly out. Like every 10 minutes, they'd be out with another thing full of coffee. And I'm like, yeah, just keep it coming. Just keep it. We drank it all. And we smashed through that bar tab as well at the pub on the Monday night. Well, I love that we went over by 35 pence because somebody asked the bar how much money was left behind the bar. And they were like, oh, there's X amount. And then they literally were sitting with them trying to figure out, like, what's the drink they could order that would put it just over and no more. So I still have the receipts somewhere. They sent me this, like, wad of receipts for everything. And it was like, oh, like here, like, there was 75 pints, was it 73 pints of Guinness were ordered and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, when they sold us, it was 35 pence over. I was waiting for the bar to tell us we'd have to go back and pay the extra 35 pence. And they were like, no, it's fine. Like,
It's fine.
That's for context, the bar tab was $5,000. Like we put £5,000 behind the bar, so we drank £5,000 and £5,000 and 35 pence. Although to be fair, some of food was put on that tab.
No, they said no for food. Food you had to pay.
A bunch of people apparently put pizzas on the tab.
Really? I asked.
Is
He
that
told me
pizza
no.
you gave? Because you fed me pizza. Was that not on the tab?
No.
Oh wow! Do you need to expense me your pizza?
Tommy, come on! It was a pizza, and you've not eaten anything.
I remember that because I was just trying to go around, just trying to chat with everyone for like 5 minutes. Just, it's the AI and Games conference. I'm the AI and Games guy. I need to go around and say hello to everybody. And then people would go, oh, you want a drink? I'm like, yeah, I was just drinking such and such. So I was on like 4 pints or something. And then you came over like, have you ate? It's like, no. And you just like force fed me cheese pizza.
But that's also our deal, right? I overorder and then feed you.
That worked.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nano says, I'm a game dev and a subscriber. I love your videos. They're some of the best on YouTube. Thank you very much. That's very cool of you to say. Loyal Mussy says, I'm censoring a catering and AI and games sub-channel coming. Yeah, so next year's vlog will be just Shraddha chasing the catering people on where the fuck is the coffee. Actually, that's what the show is going to be called. Shraddha Gupta in Where the Fuck is the Coffee? And it's just you running around with a GoPro. Like, where's the fucking coffee? Yeah, so actually, we got a question there about Goal State. We're actually going to bring that up at the end, but because we do actually have an update on that. But yeah, the conference went really well. We're really pleased with it. We know the speakers in general had a really good time with it. Our sponsors are really happy, which is great. The expo bit worked out. Excuse me. So we had the in the Great Hall. We had like booth space for companies to put out stands and stuff, and we got really positive feedback from that.
I'm really proud of that. That turned out really well.
And it was really cool to see. You know, there was so what, Havoc had a booth, Mercuna had a booth, AWS, ARM, but it was, and you can see a photo there from ARM as well. There it was like a demo of showing off what ARM's doing, and it was really great to see, like, not just people knowing who they are, but also knowing what they do and going, oh, hey, you work on such and such, we want to come and check this out or whatever. So yeah, I was really thrilled that worked out. Like the expanding the social space to have a bit more B2B business to business interaction worked out pretty well. You're just sitting there like, look at him, he's doing the business thing now, he's doing business, he's not just this stupid YouTuber. Yeah, well, I think we should do it again. Yeah. Nothing to say on that at the moment.
No update.
Two things to say is, one, the videos are being made. Two, we are actively already working on AI and Games Conference 2026, and we're doing some very early planning for some 2027 stuff, which we will, hopefully, we're going to get to a point where we can announce a bunch of stuff. Probably the same as this year. We'll probably announce it like late Q2. Like, here's the plan, here's where it's going to be. I think in the time being, we're probably staying in London, but we're maybe going to try and look to move venue because we're kind of outgrowing Goldsmiths a little bit, which is a great problem to have. At the same time, in the top right corner, those photos, that's our volunteers. Like, they're all students there, and they have been super great and really helpful the last 2 years as we've done this. They've been very invested in helping us out. So yeah, like I'm on one hand, I'm like, we need to move because it's too big, and now we're too big for it. But also I'm like, but those we can just invite them all to come and participate if they want. Hopefully Luca's got a placement at this point. Mads will have graduated, I believe, as well. Nano's asked, has the conference been growing year over year? It'd be great to go. Yes, so this year we were up. It was 40% bigger in terms of number of attendees. So we were just shy of 400 people. We had over 30 talks this year. We broke up into 2 days of 2 tracks. The O2 Arena, I don't think we can afford the O2 Arena. One of the funny things about London is if you go, like, we're really lucky that the university, the venue costs for the university aren't too big. Central London is astronomical in price. So you get, like, for us, for the size of what we want, because we're thinking we need space for 400 to 600 people. To get that kind of space in central London is, like, the cost of that is about 2/3 of our budget this year. Like, I've had Sally spec it, but Sally's on the lookout. We're trying to find spaces to go to that we don't want to become too big, but at the same, because there's a really nice vibe. Like, I think the vibe there is like you said, right? Like, everybody there, everyone's really nice, and I think that only works if we don't let it get too big, right? So yeah, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're going to continue to run it. We're going to stay in London probably for another year or so. We've had conversations about whether we move it. Do we move it around the UK? Do we move it around Europe? We don't know yet, because the problem is we're still trying to figure out how big we are. So we just mentioned the AI and Game Summer School that's running over in Leiden. We're now bigger than the summer school. In fact, we were bigger than the summer school last year, and now we're bigger than we were the year before. So, and it's because it's a different type of event, right? The summer school is a more academic focused event. It's very student focused, and critically, actually, Julian and Yergos like to keep it a certain size. They don't want it growing too big because it removes a lot of the networking value and the educational value you get from it. We are growing because we recognize that there is a need for this across the industry, and critically, a lot more of the industry is now paying attention to us. So it's like, right, how big do we want this to be? So that's an interesting question for us. Lots of things for us to figure out. But fingers crossed for Nano, you'll be able to make it sometime in the future. But, well, we're definitely planning the next 2 years right now. And even slightly farther if you... God, if George has his way, he's already been like, oh, yeah, so in 2029 or 2030, I'm like, mate, can I just get to the end of like 2026 at the moment? He's like, I have a vision. I'm like, fucking... What about having an additional USA conference? I'm in the USA. Well, one of the problems with that is GDC exists. And so if we go over there, we're just eating into the space that exists for the AI summit at GDC. But it's a fair point. Like, I think there's potential maybe down the line. Right now, our focus is Europe. And also critically, we founded it because one of the reasons we founded this was because in the US, you have GDC. So you have the AI and the ML summits at GDC, and that caters to the AI community, the game development community. Sure, it doesn't cater to it amazingly because it's in San Francisco and GDC is expensive and all these other known issues with GDC. But we were trying to do something specifically for the European community because we had nothing. Like the last time we ran an event was in 2017, and that was Game AI North. So in Copenhagen. But, you know, we have been asked, would you consider running something elsewhere? Because something like 20% of our audience this year was from North America, which I think it was actually higher than that. I think I did the math. I think it's about 27% or something of our attendees were from North America, which is kind of wild. Like we run this event in Europe and we're getting this big influx from studios in the US and studios in Canada, critically. The Bull says, I'm fine with people eating GDC's lunch, lol. I'm not always a fan of how they handle things. No
it's not about their
comment.
lunch. GDC is bigger than us, guys. Like we're still like a small community targeting only like this community, and we're not trying to like fight with
Yeah,
big
that's a key
events.
point, right? Like we're not like I'm still in a summit chair or whatever that at GDC at the moment for the AI summit. Like I've been on the advisory board there for the last 5 years. You know, I've always been committed to make, and funnily enough, this was something that Dugu and I both said when we started this, was we never want to be in a position where our working on our thing in Europe jeopardizes the work that we've done with GDC. But yeah, like equally, GDC is ran by one of the largest event companies in the world, like Informa. Like, you know, GDC is just like one of about 8 big events they run a year. Like even, you know, they run like London Tech Week, for example, which is as big as GDC, you know, and GDC Europe hasn't been held since GDC Europe was a whole interesting mishmash because even then they didn't properly like, oh, I can actually get into the weeds on GDC Europe and I'm not going to. But no, they're doing other things in other places. But they have an infrastructure, like, so it's kind of, we're kind of the inverse because like GDC is ran by a very large event company. You know, I meet with and chat with all the producers over there. And they really know how to run an event. What they don't have is the editorial insight for the content. We have a team which is full of editorial insight on the content, but we don't have the infrastructure to run massive events. Although, to be fair, with Sally, I think we can pull off just about anything. Just about.
Yeah, but like we have a team who understands editorial content, which is AI games.
Yep.
Like if you have to do something for like narrative design and visual, like we will have to get like more people in the team and more experts. So let's grow slowly, guys.
Let's grow slowly. I like the ability. I bet if we get a couple of pints and Tommy, he'd be ready to duke it out with GD. You know, give me a couple of pints and I'll go and punch God. But although funnily enough, it's the point you made, Shraddha, was that, do you remember that guy? Were you there when that guy came over and he was like, this is great. Like this event is so cool. Like you should do something for like graphics. And I'm like, well,
No, I don't
graphics
remember
exists.
the graphics conversation, but somebody did say that why just focusing on AI for games? Like, why can't you do like all development for games? You know, like all of the engineers, like
just broader game development.
yeah, just broader game development conference and like so that more engineers can come. Like, for the conference. This was so much fun, but only AI researchers and AI engineers are here, and I want others also to come for the conference.
I
And
mean,
we said the same thing, like,
we're AI people. Like everybody who founded this event is like AI experts. Like we all work in game AI, so this is our bread and butter. That's how we know the space that we want to craft, right? And it was like I can't remember who it was that said it to me, but he was like, "Oh, like do this for networking, do this for graphics." And I'm like, "Well, one SIGGRAPH exists. That's your graphics answer, but SIGGRAPH is huge, right?" But then even he's like, and I'm like, "Yeah, like it seems like something that somebody could do, but." Like the reason that it works for us is we get a pitch that comes in for a talk and we go, holy shit, did you just see this studio has submitted a talk about that game? And we're like, that's going in the fucking program. Like we're all really excited about it. Some kind of game developers conference. What a novel concept. Yeah, it's
let's talk about games
slow and
and not
steady.
games.
Slow and steady. We'll get there.
Okay.
We've got ideas. And we won't share any of them until they're public. And I'm also, I know you're looking at me going, don't blab. I'm waiting to get a DM.
Let's get to a stage where we have like concrete things, Tommy.
Oh yeah. When we have concrete things, you'll hear me talk about it a lot. But right now it's like, idea: do the AI and Games conference in Cologne shortly after or before Gamescom.
Okay, now Gamescom have Gamescom Dev, like they're renamed DevCom to
Shit name.
Gamescom Dev, and
I even said that to Nico when I spoke to him last week. That's a shit name.
And they're friends, guys. We will talk to them. It's a good idea, but I don't know. Like, I think they also have like, a lot to figure out.
So, I mean, a couple of things. One, I spoke at DevCom this year, and that went really well. Like that tripled our number of appointments. Like that talk went really well, and I think we haven't spoken about it, but I have a sneaking suspicion Nico will have me come back and probably try and do something again at DevCom this year. But I mean, I'm speaking at the DevCom Leadership Summit in February. That just got announced on LinkedIn like yesterday, so I'll be out in Lisbon doing that in February. But actually, we had a chat with them a while ago because they're saying we're being hit with a lot of AI content and pitches about AI, and they're like, how do we figure that out? And I said, well, maybe we have a chat. So there's a conversation maybe to be had with the DevCom people, because I've met a bunch of people who run DevCom and Gamescom in the last year, and they're really great. They're really nice people, but they're not fluent in AI. So they're like, some of this is kind of over their head. But I've said, look, we're happy to help because this is literally our thing. This is what we do. But
yeah, like we can figure something out with them. I think it'll be like not that bad.
Do an offsite or something, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know, like I have been thinking about it. But also like there's just so much happening in Cologne during like Gamescom. I'm just thinking, is there like even a space for AI and games mini summit there?
To be fair, if we were going to do that for Gamescom next year, we should have started planning it already.
Yeah, fair enough.
That would be a lot of work. But
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows? But
who knows? Who knows? Let's ping Nico.
we'll ping Nico. Yeah, but right now we've got the DevCom Leadership Summit to get through. And yeah, there's actually I don't think I told you there's another potential DevCom thing we might end up doing, which I'll talk about that offline. No, there's a project that's came our way like literally this week, which I said let's have a meeting in January. But anyway, but yeah, we're going to continue to work on this. We're going to continue to grow it, see where we can get it to be. I think critically we're all, like I said, we don't want it to become too big, because as soon as it becomes too big, I think we lose the character of it and the energy of it. But this year it really grew, and we saw like just the vibes. The vibes were great. Everyone was really nice. We had a really great time. And it's so cool when we've got, like, we literally had speakers this year who, like, we had Jeff fucking Orkin come and talk, which was one thing. I know that's your favorite photo, is me like just freaking out during Jeff's talk, which was very sweet. I didn't put it here. it's in the wrapped image. You saw it in that, but yeah, that was really sweet. But also, it was great to have people that we recognize from the field who've been around for a while, who are really good at this, able to come and talk. But we also had like folks who were like, oh yeah, I watched AI in games when I was going to college and learning about game AI, and then they were coming to present, and you're like, how fucking cool is that, right? It was really sweet, and it's really cool, and it's like, hey, if we're creating a platform for people to all come together like this, then, you know, long may it continue. I just need to stop myself entering my villain arc where I become the problem, and then we have to kick me out. It's still called the AI and Games Conference, but Tommy's barred. Right, so just thinking about, we're going to take a break, not from this stream, but from work. If you have multiple conferences spread over the year, you could keep the small, close-knit vibes and still grow. It's a fair point. We just got to then go and create entirely new conferences. But it's a fair point. So yeah, we'll be taking a break for a couple of weeks. We're actually going to have some time. It's funny, my energy levels today have been pretty good. I blame it on the Iron Brew 1901, because this is the high sugar version. But I'm exhausted, like straight up exhausted. I really need time off. And like this week, actually coming back to work on, because I took Monday off because we did a long weekend in Scotland to go and see family for Christmas. I came back on Tuesday and I was just like, I can't do this. I actually can't do this anymore. I need a couple of weeks away from this desk, you know, or if I'm at this desk, I'm playing games and that's it. Like, no cameras, no content. Although we actually haven't done the Doom run this year, so I still might have to live stream my Doom run before New Year's Eve. So there's that. But what do we have lined up? So there's a bunch of stuff we have lined up. Here's everything that we've currently got roughly in the docket. I think that's correct. I'm now going to go and have a look in the Notion to see whether or not I forgot something. But yeah, so we have our first video back in January. You've done the edit on a good chunk of this, and now I need to go in and write the script and put it all together. So we interviewed a bunch of engineers at Massive Entertainment. This was last month, I think. Yeah. And this is for a project called Snowcap. So Niels, who's been at the summer school, you will probably know this. I was trying to think, Niels, have you been at the last 2 summer schools? Because you would have seen a talk about this. If not, then you're in for a treat. But so Snowcap is a AI performance optimization tool that has been developed at Massive Entertainment that works in the Snowdrop engine. So games like The Division, Star Wars Outlaws, Frontier, Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, like those all run in the Snowdrop engine. And they built this machine learning model that's able to basically estimate GPU load on different console SKUs in real time without deploying it to the console. Now, if you're not a game developer, you're like, all right, what does that mean? If you're a game developer, you're like, holy shit, that is the coolest fucking thing I've ever heard. Because it means I can estimate whether or not running a level or running a scene. Yes, it was in Malta. That's right, Niels. It was in Malta. And then they came back and did a follow-up to this year over in Malmo. And then we got to do an interview with them off the back of that. So yeah, it's a really interesting project. So essentially they can estimate, oh, hey, this scene right now is going to cause a GPU overhead, or like it's really maxing out the GPU on PlayStation, and they can just do that in Editor. And they did that as a machine learning project by actually pulling up a bunch of data from running their games on different consoles, and then basically built a prediction model. And it's really performant, and it works really well, and the development teams find it really useful. And basically the long and short of it is it's helped them optimize games to run on different consoles. It's perhaps no surprise if anyone who's played Star Wars Outlaws on the Switch 2, that has received rave reviews for how well that's been optimized for that platform. This is one of the reasons that they can do that. So it's a really exciting. I'm really happy we've got David Rinaldi coming on, because like, one, he gave the talks, but I was going to say, I can see you smiling. Like, he's so great in that interview as well. Because he's a fan of the show, so I think he was like, I'm getting to do AI games. So
Yeah, like he's also so excited about what he's talking about, and not just him, like everybody. I think in
Yeah,
the
they were.
interview, they were
Yeah,
all so excited about the project and how they've like worked on it, and it's a very good interview.
it's
And
such
it would
a
make a very good podcast, guys, if we just reach hundreds.
yes. Actually, so Shraddha's got this whole thing. If we reach 100 paying subs, premium subs on AIandGames.com, that gives her enough money to then go and kickstart running a podcast. She wants to do an actual AI and Games podcast, so she's adamant. So don't forget, go to AIandGames.com. It's 50% off till the end of the year. Who knows? But yeah, they were super great. And also, I've known David now since the summer school at Malta last year, and he's just the nicest guy. He's so fun, just full of energy as well. Like he's always just feels like he's about to explode. I've got so much love for him. He's such a lovely guy. And then so I've got this design dive on Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, which was another one of these short design dives, like 5 minute long design dives. It's written. I need to go and actually just do it. I actually need to go and record footage of me playing Ninja Gaiden, so I'll go and do that over the break probably. There's a design dive I've been working on as a follow up to my Doom Eternal, which is sort of having played Doom the Dark Ages this year. Let's talk about that trilogy as a whole and what it does. So I've got a thing for that. That I'll probably get around to doing it. The next main episode of AI and Games after Snowcap is Alien Rogue Incursion, which finally had a console port at the end of the year. Yeah, I know. It was a VR game originally, and so I've seen how they did that. It's a really interesting version of Alien because it's a first person shooter, but even having one alien in it is quite stressful. And so suddenly if you've got two or three of them, it can become quite overwhelming. And originally it was a VR game. It was a Quest 2 and Steam VR game. And it's a great VR game. Actually, it's a lot of fun in VR. I think the console version isn't bad either. But yeah, we're going to do that. The AI and Games conference videos, we are slowly going to start editing them starting in January. All 30 something of them.
Have them, yeah, like up by March, hopefully.
Okay, we'll see. I don't know if we'll get them all done by March, but because we've also got the Goal State stuff to edit.
Okay, see you, bye-bye.
But yeah, so we've also got Goal State. So yes, Goal State got pushed back. We originally hoped to launch that about this time this year. And simply the number of projects that we wound up doing this year stretched us really thin. And it meant that we've actually made a lot of progress on Goal State. We were a bit slow in some of the updates, but we've been continuing to push updates. And right now, I would say I've written about 70% of the theory of it. We've got all the practicals all mapped out in both Unreal Engine and Unreal. And I've got Andrew Roper's coming in to help me finish up all the programming side of the technical of the tutorials in January and February, so we can start recording all the videos and put all that together. So we've got that happening. I've written, so like I say, I've written most of the theory. I've basically written about a 250-page book thus far. It is massive. It's essentially, it's not quite a textbook, but it is more or less, it's something of a textbook with also some additional flourishes in it, and it's broken up into 3 chunks. So it's about 20-something chapters in length. I've not finished it all yet, but we're working on that now. And then we're recording each chapter as a series of lectures. We estimate that's probably going to be somewhere in the region of about 20 to 30 hours worth of videos, which all need edited up. So it's, well, yeah, it's about 20 hours, I think, of videos probably once we've edited it all up. So it's going to be a lot of editing to do on that end. So we started doing some of the recording, and then we actually need to edit it. We're really kicking into high gear in all the editing. We might have to, depending on if we get some, I was going to say there's a bunch of business that we've got right now that we've almost signed. And if we sign all that stuff, we're going to have to use some of that money to hire a video editor, because you're going to be busy and I'm going to be busy. And anyway, but Goal State is really coming along. I'm annoyed that it got pushed back, but critically, it's coming together really well. I'm really pleased with where we are. I think it's going to be, I'm really happy actually we've got Roper coming in as well, because I'm doing the technical stuff as well. And I wanted to just spend all my time doing the programming, but I don't have the huge amount of time to commit to it. But equally, it's nice to have, so Andrew is a game developer, he's a game programmer. I've known Andrew now for well over 10 years. He was a student of mine actually many, many moons ago. He's worked on Game AI and a variety of projects. Like, he knows the space, but also he's a shit hot game programmer. Like, he's really good in Unity. He's really great in Unreal. So he's going to be, actually, it's useful because he works full time as a game dev. So he's able to fact check and like double check some of the stuff I'm doing, going, Tommy, you're a bit rusty there. So it's nice to make sure that we're going to have that at the quality level that's required. So we've been having a bunch of meetings, and he's started on that, and it's going to be, I'm really excited for that. It's going to be really great. So yeah, we'll have more to say on that as it comes along. And don't forget, with Goal State, we also then have there's an episode of AI in games about Quake 3 Arena needs to be done, and there's 3 episodes of the Goal State 3 episodes of the Goal State deep dive that need to be done, which will go on the new Goal State channel in 2026. I haven't committed to when those come out, because right now the priority is to get Goal State out, and then they'll come. They'll be in 2026. They're on the docket. They're actually in the planning right now for 2026. They're in the notion. It's all gonna happen. You're like, what? Fucking what? No. It's in there. And then AI in Games Conference 2026 is in Q4. There's a whole bunch of stuff in the planning that will probably drop as well in Q3 and Q4.
We didn't talk about my podcast. If we get to the 100,000 subscribers, we will also gonna have a podcast next year, guys. Tommy's like, just leave me alone.
I'm like, I thought I was not drinking this festive season. I feel like I need to go and get a 6-pack as soon as this call's over.
There's also like a lot of other events. Like, you're gonna be attending a lot of events, so we're gonna do content around that. We might if our subscriber base goes up for the newsletter, we'll be able to probably hire some other people and get more content done for newsletter, which is like deep dive into research and other things.
Yes, like that was in the, so we did put an issue out in the summer about like what our long-term ambitions are. So if we get certain like milestones we hit with our subscribers, both paid and free subscribers on the newsletter, that we will start doing more stuff. But it's like sort of, we want to actually bring in more writers. We want to be able to send people off to events and report on them and stuff like that. And that comes down to, if we've got the money, we will do it. But it requires people to support us. So we'll get there gradually. It's a long road, but we'll make it work. I know you're like, oh, let's go. So yeah, it's a wild one. What else? There's also I guess there's the retrospective. So we've now, after we got Alien done, I turned to Shraddha and I was like, you know what? I think we should just do a retrospective a year now. Just every year we've got one in the bag and we do it. And we've got, as I said earlier, we've got a couple of ideas for 2026, but critically, I asked someone, hey, if we were to do a retrospective on this, would you be up for it? And they were like, I'd love to do it. And I'm like, yes. So
we've not scheduled anything. So we're not going to say who.
I'm not even going to say, I'm not even going to say what it is.
Let's schedule a meeting first, Tommy.
Sorry?
Let us schedule the meeting for the interview first, and then we'll get there.
Yep. But it'll be a banger. It's you know, what I do think genuinely, like, one of the coolest things that's now happening is, because we've been doing this for so long, that now we can turn around, like, and some of these are, you know, of course, like the first 2 retrospectives we've done are on games that we've already covered, and now we can actually go and message the developers or the studio and go, would you like to be interviewed? And they say yes. Like, can you imagine, like, genuinely, like, us trying to us trying to figure out the, like, if you know, if I reached out, like, back when we did Alien before, and I did Alien the second time. Even then, like, so funnily enough, I had spoken with Creative Assembly before about maybe having an official collaboration on these things, whether it was Alien, whether it was Total War, and they were like, "No, it's okay. We don't really do this sort of thing." And I'm like, "That's fine. Like, it's not a," and it's meant actually now doing things like the conference and getting them to sponsor us has been a little bit easier because they already knew who we were, and they're like, "Ah, we like them." Like, we know Tommy and AI in games. We understand what that is. We kind of like that team rather than who the hell are these people? But critically, when we first spoke to them, they were like, who the hell are these people? So it's a different relationship we've got now, to the point that the reason we got Alan Simon in for the Alien retrospective was I told them we were doing it. I'm like, look, straight up, no, like, secrets here, because we're working on this Alien retrospective. We'd actually spoken to them about it, or I spoke to them about it about a year. It was about this time last year. No, it was. Oh no, hang on. So no, it was 2 years ago. About this time 2 years ago, I spoke to them and said, "Would you ever be interested?" Because I was in the middle of working on the Fear one. And I'm like, this is going really well. I wonder if Alien is something we could do. And I reached out to them just on a whim. And this was right around the time the studio was going through a bit of, they had a bunch of layoffs critically around the closing of the Hyenas project. And they're like, we're not doing any press. Like, it seems like a really cool idea. We're not doing any press. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. No problem. And then I just went on and it wasn't until I then spoke with Tobias and then I spoke with, Andy, that we were like, okay, we've got something. And then we were really pushing forward with it. And then I thought, oh shit, I should probably tell them. Because at this point, CA had agreed to become a sponsor of our conference. And I'm like, for our 2024. And I'm like, shit, we can't drop this and not know about it. So I was like, hey, look, I know, like, full disclosure, I remember we spoke about this. I went ahead and started doing it. And I remember them going, that may be something we'd actually be interested in being a part of. And I'm like, what changed your tune? And then they said, any chance you could do like a trailer? I was like, oh, we've got a trailer we're working on. Any chance you could put it on the 10-year anniversary? And I said, that's what I was thinking of us doing, because we could announce we're going to do this retrospective on the 10-year anniversary of the game. Wouldn't that be cool? And then literally the same day, they dropped the announcement of the sequel. And I'm like, couldn't have gave us a heads up? No? Okay. And then for reasons related to the filming of the retrospective, we are now under NDA on the sequel, which we can't get into. But yeah, it was kind of funny how that all worked out. So it's kind of nice that we're at that point that we can now speak to people and they say, yeah. Like, I mean, look at it this year. Like we said, we did things like Trepang. We got to do Amnesia the Bunker. Like, how cool is it? We actually just you just emailed Frictional and they went, yeah, fuck it, let's do an interview. Like, 10 years ago, 10 years ago, they would never even read the email. Niels has asked about the GDMC video, which we have that in the docket, right? It's an Artifacts episode. We haven't scrubbed that interview yet. I think it's going to be a newsletter in Jan or Feb, and then hopefully we're going to do a follow-up video on it in February. I just didn't write it down there because I wasn't sure where it is in our production schedule. You haven't scrubbed the interview critically, so...
Yes, I think it's with me. I forgot about it. I forgot to put it in my task list.
No, it's a January problem, because we knew we had to get the interview for Snowcap scrubbed before Christmas. So yeah, that's like your.
In my head, I was gonna do it this month, and I kept thinking I'm forgetting something, but we didn't make like a task for it.
There is a task for it.
Right now. No, there isn't.
Okay. Or
maybe I didn't see. Then I'm blind.
It's in there somewhere. It's definitely in there somewhere. Right as No Clip drops a Rain World documentary. Oh, did they? I haven't caught up with No Clip recently. Did they? Let's have a look. They literally just bring that out. They did Disco Elysium recently. Did they ever do a Rain World one? I can't remember. Yeah, Disco Elysium. Yeah, I haven't seen the Disco Elysiums because I still haven't played Disco Elysium yet. We'll get there. Rain World, funnily enough, we actually did the video. We got the conference talk on Rain World from last year. I kept threatening. Alan Zacconi has been pestering me to do a Rain World episode for a couple of years, and then it's in the backlog. But critically, he was like, "Oh, come on, you need to do it." And then we actually got them to come and speak at the conference. I'm like, okay, that gives me a bit of a breather before we get around to that one. But yes, we'll get to right now. We've got the GDM. Yeah, so we've got Snowcap, we've got GDMC coming back, and then we've got Rogue Incursion as well. There's also one or two other secret ones that I'm sitting on. That one of them I want to tie into the conference videos coming out, but I need to go and play it. So anyway, but plenty to come. And yeah, I think the retrospective, one of the retrospectives we have planned is going to be an absolute banger. It's going to be. I'm just so pleased he actually said yes. I was like, right, we are done. We are done. This is us. We have reached the end of our wrapped segment. If there's any other questions,
I've ever been on a call, Tom.
I was going to say, we've been doing this for just over 2.5 hours. Last year's wrap ran for 4, I think. But then I was drinking, I think, after about 2 hours, so it breezed by. It used to be, I think I would just start drinking whiskey at some point. I'm like, fuck it, let's go. But yeah, so we're at, if there's any other questions, now is the time. If not, we will call it an evening. And God, it's actually time for dinner.
I have to go and feed some other people's cats.
Huh?
No, somehow I'm cat sitting for a friend. Like, not really cat sitting, to go to their house.
Okay. I was gonna just randomly sitting in someone else's house, just like, hello, I'm here to feed your cat. But nope. Let's see. Nano saying, keep up the good work. Rest up. Your videos are an invaluable help to us all. Thank you very much. The Bill says, it's been a great time. So we're here for the bants. That's what it's all about. Well, Mussy, thanks for your time and all the videos you've posted. They've been immensely helpful as a hobbyist dev. Glad I happened to catch you live. See, we do exist. We are real people. It's not just an AI voice. To be fair, there's no way you could make it I don't think you could make an AI. I have tried to make an AI version of my voice and it failed.
Yeah, did we try that for some company where they it's like a client project?
I was messing around with it once, trying to see. I was like, because one of the funny things is so many of these voice models are trained on English, right? But they're trained on English accents, and then they go, all right, we can do Scottish. And then what happens is, the longer you get it to generate, my voice regresses into an English accent. And it's so weird. I think there's a clip of it on the SAG-AFTRA newsletter issue from last year. I embedded it into the newsletter article, so you can hear an AI copy of my voice, which goes on for 2 or 3 sentences, and by the end of it, I'm English. See, Niels has done it the right way. He says, during this stream, I have cooked and eaten dinner. So maybe next year,
time let's do a
from the kitchen.
Cook and wrapped.
Yeah, that's it. We're going to get a bunch of chapatis and we're going to literally make a wrap. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, to be
I can
fair,
teach you guys how to make Indian food. And while I'm not a good cook, and I have no idea how to teach somebody how to cook, because I cook by feel. This feels like I should put this much.
That's isn't that how certainly a lot of my South Asian friends all kind of cook like that? It's vibes based, right? You're like,
yeah, actually my partner was explaining the problem is that Indian cooking is passed down verbally. So most of the Indian knowledge is
Right.
passed down verbally, and because it's passed down verbally, a lot of it is just like you learn from your parent or
Yeah,
like
so it's like
whatever.
you get a
And
fistful of this and a pinch of that, whatever that means. Let's see. Bongo Baggins said, I did have one about AI in soccer games through the years, but that's a bit involved at this stage. I'm assuming that's a question. But trying to find out about AI in soccer has actually been a really hard one. I do think actually Andrea can help us with that because I'm
yeah,
pretty
I think so.
didn't she worked on like FIFA like back in the day. Also, I know, slightly spoiling something. I'm not under NDA, it's fine. I know Electronic Arts are putting a talk in, I think it's going into GDC this year, about the goalkeeper AI in FIFA 26 because they actually trained a machine learning bot, I think, for it. I was chatting about this. I think Florian Fuchs was telling me something about they've done reinforcement learning on the goalkeepers, which I'd love to do football. We've never done we've never done sports. I'd love to do AI in sports games, and it's such a you never find anything. Anyway. So Neil's made salmon pasta and cream sauce. Like that's the whitest thing. I meant in terms of the
I
food,
like
not in terms of the
that
culture.
actually.
No. It's. I was like, oh, that does sound pretty good. And also, that's just white on white. Let's see what else is happening in the chat. I'm at work and everyone's giving out cookies for Christmas gifts, so I'm just eating the hell out of the sugar. All right, Mussy, make sure you're like prepped. You've got somewhere to sit down in about 90 to 120 minutes because you're probably going to crash like real hard and do yourself an injury. The Bill says, I hope I run into you two at a conference someday if I come across the pond. That would be grand. We'd love to have you, whether it's our own conference or another one. Bongo says, I don't think AI will ever master British dialects. I think it can handle like posh English, right?
No, but like, even the Adobe's transcripts, guys, you have to read the transcript sometimes. It's so funny.
Right.
Like, because they don't get Tommy's accent at all.
No. Although I like that comment though. I'm from the South Coast and I can tell the difference between a Congleton and Biddulph accent and they're only 3 miles apart. Right. So I do this and this, it's funny, particularly Americans are blown away by this. Like, I can bump into another Scottish person in the US and I can tell within a roughly 10-mile radius 20-mile radius in Scotland where they're from. Like, I remember meeting someone, it was at Dargstool like 2-3 years ago, and I met this woman and immediately I'm like, you're West Coast Scotland, specifically west of Glasgow, specifically Paisley, Renfrewshire area. So we were, I think the age difference between us was about 15 years, but we grew up about 5 miles apart from each other. Because she was like, Kirkintilloch. I'm like, Linwood. I'm like, how you doing? Immediately. I joked about this not that long ago. I said, to me, AI voice, both in terms of being able to interpret AI human voices and being able to then regurgitate AI voices. I was like, the secret is, and like, fuck the Turing test. This is what you do. You get a Scotsman, a Geordie. You get a Chukter, a Ouija, an Edinburghian, a Scouser, a Geordie, a Manc, Brummie, Cockney, and then someone from like Dorset, and you smash them all into the same room and you have them talk for like 2 hours. But every 20 minutes, you deliver more and more alcohol to the room. If the AI can interpret that entire conversation from start to end, we have solved artificial intelligence. I'm just putting it out there now. If you can actually get it, the AI goes, this is what the conversation was about. And then it can break it down into chapters of like everything that they talked about. That's when we've solved this. I think that's the trick. Happy Pie. Oh, so Aji's just joined us. I guess I need to watch the VOD. Sorry, buddy. Like, we were starting a little bit earlier on the wrap this year. But yes, it's not the Turing test. This is the Thomson test. That's it. You just get a bunch of British people in a room. You get them shit-faced, and you can see whether the AI can interpret what happened. That's it. Modern tests for modern challenges, says Profane Pagan. Like, very much so. Like, it's a very multicultural world. How often are you going to get a Scouse, a Manc, and a Brumma in the same room? Oh dear. Right. Shall we call it quits and wrap up for the evening. I need to go play more Metroid Prime, actually. What are you playing this weekend? What are you playing?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm playing Hades too.
You're still in Hades 2, right? I was
Yeah,
just
it's the thing. And also the News Tower. I love that game. I think it's
the new what?
so
Sorry.
the News Tower.
Oh, the news tower. Right. Yes.
So it depends. Like if I'm hiding from my child, I play News Tower.
Hang on. So how? Why do you play Hades 2 when you're not hiding from your child?
I mean, she doesn't mind watching it. Like she will look
okay.
at the.
Fair enough. Bongo says,
Like right now, she's gone to a place where she gets me the controller, and she's like, "Mama, please."
Nice. Bongo says he's playing Amped 2, which was an Xbox launch title. It was a. Oh no, it's a sequel to no. Amped was a launch title, wasn't it? Amped 2 was later on. Is it Amped 2's OG Xbox as well? It was like SSX basically, wasn't it? It was like a snowboarding game. Niels is trying to finish Final Fantasy VII Rebirth tonight. Me, I'm kind of torn between probably I'm a good chunk of the way through Metroid Prime 4, but I just finished I've just started a couple other games on my PC and Xbox, so I think probably the game I'm closest to finishing is Prime 4 right now. It's the only one. I think it's the only game in my top 10 that I haven't finished. So I need to go do that.
And record footage.
And yes, AIandGames.com next week. We will have the Game of the Year list go up. So yeah, you can both Shraddha and I have listed our top 10, so you get 10 to 6 from both of us next week, and then 5 to 1. So we get that on Christmas Eve, and then on New Year's Eve you get our top 5 each, which I just finished writing all mine, so we just need to put all yours in the newsletter now. Also, like, our games didn't conflict. Like, neither of us have the same games in our top 10, although I think in our top 20 we had a lot more overlap. There was a bunch of games that actually, and it was one of your games. I think it was one of your games in your top 10 I recommended to you. So,
Is this Sea Taken?
Yeah. That was.
And one of the games you taught me how to play.
Oh yeah, that too. Yes, I taught you how to play Mario Kart. So,
And then I made my nephew because I knew how to play Mario Kart.
Right. Well, I feel like this is just the beginning of your journey. I think there's still a lot still to teach you to get you to like.
Next time, Tommy. Next time you come to Malmo, you teach me more.
Maybe we arrange an AI and games work retreat, and we just go to Malmo. We just go over to Malmo for a long weekend or something, and then we live stream again, and it's you and it's me teaching you how to play Mario Kart, and the internet can watch. No, I don't think that's going to be particularly fun for anyone. All right, cool. Right, let's call it quits. Thank you very much to everyone for tuning in tonight. It's been great to have you here. Thank you to Shraddha for jumping on for your first. This is your first live stream as well.
Yes.
So it's your first time camera facing. But yes, like critically, this is a 2-person team now, and of course, it's going to be 3. Starting in Jan, and then of course the conference is now like 7+, but yeah, it's kind of crazy to think in the space of like 18 months how much the team around everything that we're doing on AI and games has grown a lot. We have so many things happening in the back end. I know Shraddha has been working furiously on the business development side, and we're very close to signing off a bunch of big projects with some game studios, which I know you're upset. You really wanted to have all those deals closed by Christmas, but I think most of this stuff will be will come about in the coming weeks and months, which is great. But also I'm like, oh God, this is stressful, because we genuinely have to start thinking now about training up my protege as like a Tommy Jr. on the team. We do. We genuinely have to start thinking about this, because there's so much stuff for us to do now, and yeah. But critically, it's just great that we talked about it earlier in the numbers and everything else. Like things like our YouTube has gradually diminished over the last couple of years. But what's awesome is we're putting videos out and they're finding an audience. And particularly when you look at some of the stuff, fans of games are flocking over and going, "This is great. We love to see this stuff." And more than anything, I think running the conference now has reaffirmed to us just how important this stuff is. Because the amount of people that we've got to meet at the conference who are like, "Oh man, I watched this one, that this was the video that I remember watching, or this is the video I really enjoyed, or I worked on this game that you made a video about and we really love that." Like, you know, first of all, Matthias has joined the team on the conference. I remember meeting Matthias because he was so happy because we did the video on Gears Tactics. If you ever go back and watch that episode, he is the AI lead on that game. And I remember him telling me how his whole team were so jazzed that we did that episode. And also, it's one of my favorite episodes as well. Like, I love Gears Tactics. It's an amazing game. But we had I had a lovely conversation this year at GDC with Breach Entirely, who was the lead on the Halo Infinite project that we covered. And I had such a wonderful conversation with her about it. She goes, "It was so great. Like the whole team just like took a coffee break and sat and watched the video together on Zoom because they were so excited and they were so thrilled by that." And that's the shit that we're like, that's what it's all about. Like when devs watch these videos and get excited because we're covering their stuff, but also because other people go, "This is the video that inspired them to go and do their own thing." That's what this is all about. And I just fucking love that shit. Right now I'm being told we need more Shraddha streams. So yeah, go and sign up to AI in Games Plus. That's our other channel, which I believe Niels shared earlier. So it's, youtube.com/@AI and Games Plus. All one word. That's where we do the live streams. We tend to stream every week. I'm probably going to do some streams before the end of the year because I haven't done my annual Doom run. So I need to go and do that. But I know you're camera shy, but I think you did great today. I think you were awesome. But shout out to all of you. Shout out to Shraddha. Shout out to the whole conference team. And yeah, we will be back. God, I think the first... I'm trying to remember when the first newsletter issue is. Is it the 7th of Jan? I've literally got...
Yes.
Fuck. Right. All right. I need to go and start this lie down. I need to start this break now so I can go and properly rest. We'll speak to you all soon. Hope you all have a great holiday. And if this isn't your holiday, then enjoy the rest of December and enjoy the peace and quiet from all these annoying white people who are lying around drunk and full of food somewhere. All right. Cool. Have a good one, everyone.
Yeah.
Stay safe, take care, and we will be back. Music!